Are you not entertained? If you didn't like that game, you don't like basketball. What an incredible comeback from the Toronto Raptors, down 22 points against the San Antonio Spurs. Big Victor Wembanyama versus Scottie Barnes. Some of us, very hopeful Scottie Barnes fans, think this might be a finals preview of 2026, 2027. Certainly two of the most exciting players. My two favorite young players in the NBA going off, one against the other. And early on, it was a lot of Victor. It was a lot of Victor Wembanyama, and it was a very, very poor start for the Toronto Raptors, and you'd be forgiven for turning this off at halftime. But I hope you didn't. I hope you didn't, and I hope if you did, you can catch this game on tape delay because the second half was inspiring, incredible. I screamed so loud at the television that my dog thought I was crazy. Context, timing, media storms. The last, I don't know, the first 6 games have been kind of interesting, right? And we've seen emergence of Scottie Barnes. His analytics have been crazy. I've been going nuts talking about it. And we've been breaking down the tape and we've been examining what's going wrong with this Raptors offense. And, you know, it seemed about 6 days ago that, 6 games in, that I think this fan base, even some of the most ardent, let's call it anti put the ball in Scotty's hands, get out of the way type of people, run the offense through him. I think those people were coming around. They were just like, all right, I give up. I give up. I'm tired of resisting this, man. This guy's too good. He's too good. He's too young. Let's just turn the page. All is forgiven, and let's move on. Last couple of days, though, those people have been given a dose of new energy. They've been armed with new stats. They've been on a bit of a parade on Twitter. And, you know, when Scotty came out with 3 points in the first half, yeah, I could see him grimacing. I could see him sort of limping to the huddle. And I was like, bro, this is not the time. This is not the time to put up a triple single, man. You got to do something because we're this close. We are this close to achieving critical mass within this media space, within this city, within this fan base, where people just accept that you are him. You cannot be this sorry. And he was not good in the first half. He's picking his spots, a little bit tentative, a little bit passive, a few turnovers. I didn't like Scotty's game in the first half, and I was really sorry to see it the way it was. And then the second half came out. Man, I was watching a feed while I was watching the television feed. The feed that I was watching, they allow you to see the bench. In between timeouts, they allow you to see the bench. They allow you to see everything. And this is a very interesting thing because this is the stuff they don't show you on television. And if you're attending the games, you can obviously see this for yourself. But he was so dialed in, so focused in that second half. It was honestly ridiculous. I'm going to skip should I skip the intro? No, let's, we already got 270 people here. Why am I going to waste your time with a 1 minute intro? Let's just remove the intro and let's just get to the game, right? Okay. So first let's talk about what was impressive and what was consistently good, because there's a lot more than Scotty to this game. I think there's a lot of really great performances across the board for this game. And I certainly want to just remind you, to hit like, hit subscribe. Obviously, these lives where the Raptors win and Scotty does well, these are usually pretty bumping. So hopefully there'll be a lot of really lively callers. We already got NY4 Raps and FA up in here. So that's going to be a really fun conversation. I can't wait to talk to those two guys together for the first time this year. That's going to be a blast. And if you want to call in, link is in the description. But absolutely do hit like and subscribe. It really does help more people see this stream now that it's happening. Okay, so let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the good for the Toronto Raptors. First off, O.G Anunoby draws the assignment of guarding Victor Wembanyama, and he was impressive. He was so good, right? He worked his tail off. And, you know, there's a lot of small forwards out there that just wouldn't even think about taking on these crazy matchups, but OG is just that guy that whatever you need, coach. He's that whatever you need, coach guy. His 1 steal and 0 blocks do not do justice to his offensive and defensive toughness. He was incredible tonight. They left the corners open. He made them pay dearly. He was incredible. Jakob Poeltl, honestly, you know, he's got 16 points on 80% shooting and 10 rebounds, and I don't think he had a great game. But that's largely because just defensively he got really just shafted by Zach Collins. I don't think he had a great game, but the box score says he had a fantastic game. I don't think he was disruptive necessarily. I just don't think he had a great game, but it was good. Dennis Schroeder, 1 for 8 from 3. I don't care. Wow. Like, he was good. Like, he was really good. You know, there's a troubling Dennis Schroeder couple of possessions in overtime and fourth quarter where maybe he was just a little too much into himself, but I think he really just managed to punish defenses that were not closing out properly, and he got to the rim and he's getting paint touches and he's swinging the ball out. I think he was a really consistent element of the Raptors offensive attack tonight, even in the first half when things were not going well. I think he played well. Jalen McDaniels gets the quick hook, and I called for it at halftime, man. Do not let this guy come back on the court. He was very bad. Very sorry. Defensively, offensively, he was lost, and he really needs to figure it out really quickly, because this is the second time that they have decided to put him into the rotation, and they have pulled him out of the rotation 1/2 in. He did not step on the court in the second half. The bench was so good tonight for the Raptors. Like, I know that sounds crazy because you're looking at it and you're like, 21 points, Rob, stop capping. That's not great. It was great. Okay. And the bench, to me, really tonight, the best performances off the bench were Malachi Flynn and Otto Porter, right? A combined, you know, they're both plus. I don't really care too much that they're plus or minus or whatever. It doesn't really matter, but you felt it. You felt their presence. They were so instrumental in terms of just momentum. Malachi was tough defensively. He was pesky. He was picking up really high. He was putting a lot of pressure on the Spurs guards. He was putting pressure on Jeremy Sohan. He was applying pressure on the help. He didn't seem scared of the moment. I mean, honestly, if you're a Raptor fan that joined my, anti-Malachi brigade, I'm ready to step off of it. I hope you'll step off of it with me, because look, as much as I like Jeff Doughton and all that stuff, and I thought it was political and crap, they saw something in him and they've been right. They've been right so far. I know he struggled out of the gate. His numbers don't look great. Analytics don't look great, but he's been better every single game. And that is good. That is impressive. And if by the end of the season you have a very serviceable shooting off-ball combo guard type of player in him who has this pesky defensive, instincts and is giving it every single night, because clearly he has a coach who believes in him, who is inspiring him and giving him like all sorts of doses of confidence. I mean, it's just really good, right? He's been really good. Otto, just stable, man, stable. Like, he airballs that 3 in overtime. No one expecting that, but seriously, man, like, he was so good for this team defensively. I mean, I've mentioned it before. I talked about it last year. So good, like, so good defensively. I mean, he can really shut down the side of the court. It's not Victor Wembanyama. Maybe it's not as bursty as Scottie Barnes, but it is that element of defensive awareness that can really just close down driving lanes, cut down angles, provide late help. It's very unpredictable in this way. It's incredible. And the only thing predictable about Otto is that he's always a positive. No matter, play him 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, quick hook, doesn't matter, right? He's always positive throughout his whole career. In my opinion, one of the most underrated players of all time. I'm really happy that the Toronto media has a chance now to actually watch the player they've been clowning for the last year and see why some of us have really just been supporting him so hard the whole way through, because he's an incredible player and a great person, and I'm really happy to see him healthy. Touch wood, the Raptors will have, a few days now to recover before they play again. So this will be another good, thing. You play 19 minutes, you're slowly ramping up the minutes for Otto. And hey, man, again, I'm telling you, this is a completely different season if he plays 60 games for you, right? Really different season if he plays 60 games for you. You have no context or concept of his analytical and real impact on the game. When he's out there, he's really just as good as some of your starters. I'm not kidding. He is every bit as good as, I'm not going to go into names, but you can probably draw from the conclusions where I'm heading with that. But he is that impactful. Okay. Gary Trent Jr., really sorry first half. And then second half, he was really good. This is the best half of basketball that Gary Trent Jr. has played all season. And for him, I'm very happy. He's in a contract year. And this was a very, very needed, tough performance from him. He was pesky. He was more disciplined than he's been at certain other times. He made his shots. I mean, they found him. He made them. He didn't force too much. He was a little bit better at quick read and react situations. If this is a turning of the tide for him, and it does happen, right? New offense, certain guys struggle to come out of the gate. Eventually, it clicks. And if they can build on it, this is good. I am very happy for Gary that his second half was good and his first half was terrible so that he can walk onto the bus today, feel like, hey, this is something to build on because the Raptors desperately need him and Grady to start hitting shots. I talked about it on Twitter yesterday. This team has been holding water as in terms of three-point shooting because Scotty has come out insanely hot from three, and he maintained that today with a crazy scoring explosion in the second half, including just pull-up threes like he's Steph Curry or some shit. Like what the hell am I watching here? Scottie Barnes. Jesus. Incredible. But they need Gary and Grady to start hitting if this offense is going to work. They need Malachi to be confident. They need Otto to be healthy. They need Jalen McDaniels to get a clue. Like, I don't know what he's doing right now. It would really help if Precious comes back and he can actually start hitting them at a serviceable clip. It would absolutely help a lot if Christian Coloco was available and probably just suck up all those Precious and Chris Boucher minutes. But regardless, the Raptors are holding water despite, being destined to be some horrible offensive team because they certainly looked sorry as hell in the first half. Let's look at the other side, which is, the Victor Wembanyama led San Antonio Spurs. He was good, right? Like he had, like his impact is not written in the 5 blocks. And just a funny FYI, prior to the game on Instagram, shout outs to Pensera Basketball on Instagram. If you're not following Pensera Basketball on Instagram, please give us a follow there. I had listed a poll, and you can go back and confirm this, in which I said one of 4 outcomes. Raptors win, Spurs win, Raptors win and Scotty has 30 points, or Spurs win and Wemby has 5 blocks. Wemby has 5 blocks. Scotty has 30 points. That's hilarious. Clairvoyance, man. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're lucky. But he earned every one of those 5 blocks. And what does not show up in the box score for Victor Wembanyama, despite being negative 16, someone might look at this and say, okay, well, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 5 blocks. He had a good game, but he shot below 50% from the field. What's the hype, Rob? What's the hype? Why have we been talking about Victor Wembanyama so much? Why is the NBA so crazy about him? I think you need to just watch the game, man. I think you need to watch him play. I think you need to see how disruptive he is. I think you need to see how much he adjusts players' thinking. Like when they're going into the passing, like when they're just trying to make a pass, like he is just disrupting everything. Like you're trying to actively hunt for the side of the floor that he's not on. And the Raptors' stroke of genius was going small and pulling him out of the paint and allowing the paint to open up for Scotty to attack. It was specifically prevalent in the stretch of basketball they played where they had Malachi, Grady, Gary, OG, and Scotty, or when they swapped in Otto. Like this was like you couldn't sag. Like you couldn't let him just camp in the middle, and he had to respect the shooter. And he blocked OG's shot. He blocked Scotty. I mean, shoot, that's a big boy out there, right? I mean, the physics of Victor Wembanyama are something really for a sci-fi novel. But what he does to you in terms of basketball is a game of pace. Basketball is a game of rhythm, and he disrupts rhythm. He disrupts everything, right? You're making a simple entry pass. Suddenly he's getting it. You go baseline. You think you beat him. You haven't beat him. Scotty beat him clear off the dribble. I mean, I think he played up too high, but he had to play high because Scotty was just punishing him. Scotty's just abusing every Spurs defender that they put on him in the second half. Because if you come up too high, he's going to blow past you. And if he gets past you, it's one head, it's a dunk, right? I mean, it's just such an impressive performance. I think I could ramble on for 2 hours, and I don't think I would be sufficiently able to put into words how impressive a game Scottie Barnes had tonight and how happy I am for him and how many times during that explosion in the fourth quarter did I yell, "Take that, blank person that shall not be named." I am really happy to see people switching up on him right now. I know there's a whole stay on your side movement where people are just very angry that people have slandered this guy for 2 straight years as he's found his footing and been really good, by the way, for the last 2 years. But I don't care about staying on your side. Today, Sam Bassini tweeted out something very positive about him, saying, I think we'll pull up the tweets after. We'll go through Twitter, see the overreaction. But good game. Good game, Scotty. I did not talk about Pascal Siakam, probably for good reason. I don't think he had a very good game. But kudos to him for hitting that three in the overtime. And, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 turnovers. How do you get 6 rebounds in this much time? There was a foul late. There was, and which is effectively what allowed the game to really go to overtime. I think that was tough, right? Really tough. I don't think that was his fault at all. But that's just a younger player kind of beating you to the ball and you sort of tripping him or whatever. And, it's a bang bang play. And, it was a 50-50 call. It could have been a no call. Honestly, it probably should have been a no call. And then they call it as a foul on Siakam because he looks so guilty too, right? Like when he's just kind of standing there like that. There was, of course, a big timeout heads up play by Scotty to call that timeout and get the steal again. Could have easily swung the game. There's so many times in this game, by the way, that Scotty just absolutely swung the game with a big play or whatever. This could be like, I don't think it's a hot take to say this is one of the 10 best games played by any player in the NBA so far this year. And that's, by the way, it's definitely the best half of basketball any one player has played in any game this year. I've watched a lot of NBA basketball. This right here, is this hot take? Clip it. Scottie Barnes in the second half was the best player in the NBA at like through the first 2 weeks that we've played. There's no one player, in my opinion, that has put up together a more consistent two-way performance in a single half than Scotty. First half, awful, no defense. But to do all of this pretty much in 22 minutes is crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Really good game for him, man. All right, let's get to some callers, and I'm sure we will discuss more as we continue to go. And let's bring on FA and NY4 Raps. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's
Happy
up?
basketball New Year.
Happy basketball New Year, man.
Huh. Oh, great game. I was hoping that we win this game, and I'm super excited. I said, oh my God, I'm not going to get depressed again tonight. Wow.
Raptors have been like really boosting up LCBO sales right now, man. Like this just been real depressing. But yeah, I agree. I mean, the first half was just sad. Like I watch it with my girlfriend.
Depressing.
Huh?
First half was
depressing.
It was, but they really pulled it together. What did you think of the second half? Like, did you think Scotty had that in him? I mean, you two are like serious Scotty boosters, right? You're super Scotty fans.
After the first half, he only scored 3 points. If it was us saying, "Oh my God, it's not going to make 20 today," I said, "Give him just wait and see."
Yeah. We know which one is the patient brother, and we know which one is the panic brother. All right, I get you. I don't know you guys that well, but I can figure that one out about you guys already.
Third quarter, fourth quarter, he took off.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
17 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, where have I seen that before? I mean, I think I saw that last year too, right? A lot of times it was like 17 points in the fourth quarter. That's his number, 17. He can put 17 points up in a quarter. What does that make you think about? If he was a selfish player, he just wanted to gun for his 40, 50 every single second night. Oh man. How do you stop this guy?
And even the 0.9 seconds to the regulation time, it was almost there.
Yeah.
And for trying to have the IQ to call the timeout, right? That was impressive.
Yes.
Wow.
Number one, time and score, but number two, he did travel. Just want to throw that out there. He definitely traveled, but thankfully they did not call it. I don't know how many dribbles you're allowed on the catch, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, he called the timeout as he went forward.
Yeah.
Almost like he was doing two things. Mm-hmm. He was like, okay, if they don't let me call it, I'm launching it. You know what I mean? It's almost like a 1-2, and then it's like he was trying to do two things at once. But yes, very impressive performance from him. And we have our
He
first.
called the timeout when he was in the air, right? So they landed with the timeout. It was calling it in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christian Burton, hey Rob, curious, are you starting to come around on my boy Flynn as backup point guard? I said give him till Christmas. Keep up the great work, man. UK fan. Christian, first of all, thank you so much for our first
I still
super
don't
chat.
think.
Really appreciate it.
Wow.
I gave him his
I still-
flowers early. I have been very impressed with Malachi the last couple of games. I think he's been really good. There was a channel that called me out for my Malachi take, and they made a whole video about me, and they were very angry with me, and I was very upset with them. And I wrote, kind of to that guy, just saying, "Hey, man, like you were right. Like,
Yeah, big up
he
Christian.
is totally an NBA player."
UK. All the way from UK, man. Christian, you're doing it, man. All the way from UK.
Yeah,
Raptors
that's
fan.
some crazy time difference, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love this community partially because of how international it is. I mean, neither one of you guys are calling from Canada right now either, so that's like the cool part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So you see, look at OG. OG was holding Wemby, and look at how many points he scored on Wemby. Look, so OG is the best defender in the league. Period.
It's a good argument, and no argument from me. He's really been incredible this year,
Yeah.
man.
And
Like
even Scotty. Scotty has been incredible too this year.
they've both been incredible.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is they're both like playing really well offensively too. I mean, it's not
Actually,
all
it's
consistent,
so
but
far, so far, three consistent players: just Scotty, OG, and Dennis Schroeder. Yeah, those are consistent
Yeah.
players.
but I mean but also like I mean it's worth thinking about, like, look at the relationship those three players have with their head coach. Like he loves all three of them. Like I remember the interviews this summer, he couldn't stop talking about any of them. Right. So it's just now it's about like the other guys kind of coming around. And also Otto has played 2 great games. He's only played 2 games. And he's so you have, you're seeing like if you buy into this offense, it will work for everybody. Like I promise you, this is a total equal opportunity offense. To the people in the Toronto media saying, "Oh, 0.5 is not working. Let's go back to isolation basketball." Oh, you motherfuckers, right? Like, don't even think about it. Like, it will work, and it could work even for Pascal. It could work for Yahoo.
Exactly.
It creates for everybody. Motion is like this is not a new concept.
Exactly. I love this coach so much. Remember, if we're playing under the other coach, I'm not going to even call his name, not worth calling his name. If we're playing under the other coach, we would have been double teaming Wemby.
Facts.
Yeah, that's what we would have been doing. Then he would have been distributing the ball.
And that opens the corner tree for the other team all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. No, I mean, I'm very obviously very happy with so far Darko Rajakovic. I hope this city and the fan base will not fall for some twisty media narratives about him. He's been a really good coach. Been watching a lot of tape and also like some cell phone snippets from practice, just getting some insight into what these practices have been like. His energy has been so great. You know, how he keeps these guys up after a loss, the message, the consistency, and the trust that they are showing in him that what he's saying is correct as well. I'm just really deeply appreciative of him.
There's a super chat out there saying they need a deep analysis on Pascal struggles.
Oh, goats.
Oh, goateology. Okay, so this is fun. Okay, so everyone, this is my friend actually, and we've talked a lot. And I've been watching this channel grow from 1 subscriber. Guess where they're at right now? Goateology. It has crossed 10,000 subscribers. Big shout outs. Doing crazy work. Great edited videos on Victor Wembanyama. So to those of you who are basketball fans who want to follow the journey of Wemby game to game, please go sub to Goateology. This guy is just solid. I mean, honestly, just such a huge and the support is so mutual, right? Because I just really appreciate people who do good work, like what so I'm very happy for his success, and I'm very, very happy to have seen it grow. And he's a huge Scottie Barnes fan. He had a couple of really great videos on Scotty as well. So obviously, and he's one of us. He's one of our community, and I'm very proud of him. So keep it up. Deep analysis of Pascal struggles from you. Okay, you guys go first because I'm going to get in trouble.
Pascal. I'm still not going to beat him so much right now.
He's not Bloody Mary. You don't got to say his name 5 times. Like it's not. Is he Candyman?
I don't want to.
Candy, man.
I don't want to. I don't want to beat him. There's something going wrong with Pascal psychologically, because
Yeah.
there's something going on psychologically. It looks like he doesn't want to be part of the team.
He's driving, he's hitting the paint, but he's not making his shots, right?
Yeah,
Like it's
like,
it's, it's everything's short, everything's left, right? You know, it's everywhere, but it's not going in the basket. I appreciate some parts of his game today. So the defensive awareness, like there was a screw up on there was a tip ball and they got a score. And you should have seen the daggers. Like I'm going to go back and break the tape because I'm working on my own Scotty video for release, hopefully tomorrow or the next day, and it's going to be chronicling just his ascension right now.
When you look at his all aura when he was in the bench, it just doesn't look like he want to be there. So hopefully, maybe because we're losing, but hopefully
Are we losing? We're top 8 in the East now. It's that fickle. It's that quick.
I know.
I mean, honestly, we've been in all of these games except for the Philly games.
It sucks, man. Only 3 teams are above 500 right now.
Just like the East sucks.
I think with Pascal, right, you guys are right. It's more mental than physical right now. Like I think the whole, hopefully not. I think the whole trade talks all summer has really affected him, and I hope he gets back to, because you see Toronto press, right? They were trying to like, oh, Pascal is struggling because of the new system. The new system is actually better.
You caught that bullshit article too? I did too. Yeah.
Because when Scottie Barnes was struggling last year, not even struggling per se, right? It was like
nobody talked about the system.
This guy
this is the weirdest thing in the world. Do you see how much other fan bases support their young stars? And you try to go to Orlando right now, Orlando Magic fan base, and say that Scotty's better than Paolo, and you will literally get kicked out of that group, even though he clearly is. Try to go and tell Cleveland fans that Scotty's better than Evan Mobley right now. They'll deny it. But bro, like this fan base, because of this completely batshit crazy media, has been brainwashed into believing that Scotty is not him. And now it's funny because here's the thing I was thinking about. You never seen a player jump the way he went from last year to this year, right? And people are going to say it's because he worked hard this summer and because Fred's gone and because of this and that. But I'm trying to tell you that this was all building last year and people didn't see it. They called it a regression because they're box score casuals. They're not watching the games. I was talking with Brian and remember the interview we did with Scotty's trainer, Brian, and he was just like he did the work. Like he did all the work in the summer. He worked his ass off, and we're seeing different counters. We're seeing different moves. I'm seeing him score in different ways. I'm seeing his role changing, and I'm seeing him get frozen out of the offense. And I'm just like, yo, this is really like how different would we be feeling about this performance if he was at 19 points per game last year? Because that's where he should have been last year. We'd be like, this makes sense. Year 1, year 2, year 3, it makes sense. But year 2 got shafted, and these guys didn't do shit about it. They just wrote negative crap about him. They spread rumors about him. I don't know how to forgive it. If they are ready to change, I will adjust. But if they try to do this bullshit again, I will go. I will not let them do this.
But
I made it my mission last year. I'm like, I will protect the. Like it's such a difficult reputation to overcome when someone starts, questioning your compete level. It's one thing to say Pascal Siakam had a bad shoot tonight, but if I tell you Pascal Siakam sold this game and he's just not trying out there, that's a very difficult reputation to overcome, So like you want to make a charge against someone that they didn't work hard, they're just lazy, whatever. You better be fucking very, very, very sure of what you're saying. And they were wrong last year.
Because that could mess up their mental state, yeah.
But Scotty just tuned it out. Tuned it out. Credit to him. He tuned it out. Like what does that say about him? That everything they said about him, everything, everyone flipping up on him.
That's why I'm so happy he started very well this year, because last year he didn't start very well. And then Van Vliet also contributed a lot to it as well. The way the style of play we had, put him on the side, also contributed as well. So there were a couple of things that actually contributed to Scotty's way of play last year compared to now. So now he's more of like the to-go guy, and he's trying to help Pascal grow or get out of the slump. But it's still mental for Pascal.
So let me offer a let's call it a support for Pascal post, okay? Because someone's telling me right here. Will Lou react? I don't care about that. What do you say? Stop holding back on Pascal. Actually, I don't think I'm holding back at all. But let me try to offer what I think is actually happening. Because see, here's the thing. I don't like the double standard. I'm not going to do a double standard.
Yeah.
Scotty struggled last year, and I said, patience. He's not this bad. Relax. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do the same thing for Pascal right now, and just try to explain and try to be fair. Okay. Fairness is this. This is a player who has shown you over and over that he values certainty. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Tampa, bubble, that whole thing. He had a bad year. Uncertainty, right? A lot of uncertainty. This is a guy who talks about, his struggles in the pandemic. I try to pick up on what people say, the things that they don't mean to tell you, that they tell you by accident. I remember him talking about how he doesn't really roam around Toronto because it doesn't feel necessarily safe to do so. That's a person who values certainty. So you have a player who's lost the only coach the only coaching staff he's really worked with, right? Nick Nurse could have been, his confidant, right? Plus, you have a guy who has come up with Fred VanVleet in the system, right? Now, yes, you can say he still has OG, he still has Yak, etc. He's come up with those guys, he still has Scotty, but this is really a new situation for him to navigate. So he's in a new situation, and there's a lot of new teammates, and it's a lot of uncertainty. Now you add into the matter of fact, there's trade rumors, there's a lack of contract for him. That's also uncertainty. So you are compounding uncertainty on top of uncertainty on top of uncertainty, new situation, new coach. How does he feel about me? I said it earlier this offseason. This coach has gone on a media tour talking about Scottie Barnes. He's not talking too much about Pascal Siakam. I have a feeling that's because Pascal Siakam was not supposed to be on this team. However, he is now on your team, and it is very difficult for me to ignore the obvious elephant in the room that he is not doing a good job. He's not boxing out. He's not cutting. He's not rebounding. But it might be ridiculous maybe for me to go so far as to say he's deliberately taking plays off, because it's hard to play basketball when you're so checked out mentally. And we saw it in the bubble too. It's not it's a personality thing. And I cannot go back into his childhood and say why he thirsts for certainty this much, but certain people are wired to be explicitly wired for, we need a lot of certainty, or some people, they need a lot of uncertainty. And that's not neither here nor there for me to judge that. I can only say I can say three things conclusively. Number one, Scottie Barnes has not jumped him in the offense because of politics. He is a better player, 100%. The version of Scotty that we've seen through 7 games right now is better than probably any 7-game stretch consistently two-way of Pascal Siakam's career, and he's doing it at 22. So to the media out there, if I can give Pascal Siakam a bit of, let's be patient, please stop peddling this myth that this is some sort of political thing, because that Marco is just elevating his golden boy.
You know what? You said everything in totality. So because all the things you said boils down to Pascal is still going through the stages of grief.
Possibly.
So he has to go through the stages of grief for him to be, then we'll see how he reacts towards the stages of grief. If at the end of the grieving period is still like this, then that's prolonged grief, then that will be time for us to let him go. But we have to be patient with him, because the more we keep on beating him down, the more the grief extends. So you actually said everything. It just needs to go through the stages of grief.
NY4 Raps, a lot of people are kind of clowning your take, but I actually understand where you're coming at this from. Can you just let people know a little bit about where you're coming from this professionally?
Okay, so professionally, as a medical psychiatrist, so in the stages of grief, you have to go through. The last stage is acceptance. You have to accept the fact that now I'm part of the team. I'm part of the team, not because he went through he definitely went through denial and the rest already. So the last stage is going to be acceptance, where you now have to accept that I'm part of the team, and VanVleet is no longer here. He has to accept all that, because it's not easy. They're like brothers. It's a brotherhood. VanVleet left. You talked about how they keep on beating him, how the coach was not calling him, even during the summer games. The coach was all talking about about
Scotty, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Scotty's
It's
gonna
a
run.
tough thing. It's a tough
But it's
thing
a
for
tough
anyone to
thing, yeah.
accept, right? Like you're the
That's
guy. They've
what
built
I'm
you up as
saying.
the guy. You have people in your ear telling you all the time that you're the guy. Now you have people in the media who are writing articles that you're being unfairly shafted. And of course, if psychologically, like consider it this way. If I today, right, if people start unsubscribing, right, and I have one of two ways I can go. I can either look at my behavior, look at what
Yeah.
I can do, look at my adjustment, or if I have a partner who's just like, they're just haters. Now you just let me off the hook. You let me off the hook of my own behavior. Pascal Siakam needs to take a very strong look in the mirror and just understand that let's simplify this, right? Like, I mean, I don't know him, but if I did know him, if he was my friend, here's what I would say to Pascal Siakam. Your team needs you to be successful.
Yes.
You have a lot of positive things that you can do for the team. You've done some of them so far, but there's a lot of other things you're not doing. Putting your body on the line, taking good shots in rhythm, moving the ball. I think today was not that bad a game from him. It looks terrible, but I don't think it was that bad.
And it's obviously mental because this guy needs to get the big bucks. He needs to get the big bucks. That's one. And two, one thing about Pascal, he wants to be in Toronto. How many other players wants to? What's this guy's name that went to to Milwaukee? He didn't want to come to Toronto. Pascal wants to stay with us. But he just need to get through this mental hump, then he'll be good.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I think, wherever he goes, I mean, if he gets traded, which certainly we can talk about at some point if someone wants to talk about the Kings package of Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, whatever, Malik Monk, we could talk about that. I think it's just, as I said before, I think it's a lot of uncertainty to put on a player all at once. Uncertain role, uncertain new relationship with the coach. Maybe winning will help. I hope that the Raptors can win 2-3 games right now. He can start feeling a little bit lighter.
True.
Hopefully he can see also, like, he's not stupid. He can also see the step that Scotty is taking and how good he's been. And, if he can just kind of accept that, hey, like Kawhi left, I took the seat, I took the throne. They gave me a chance for 4 years. It didn't work out the way they wanted it to. We have a new Kawhi. Basically, he's doing everything that Kawhi was doing, Pascal, to some extent.
Pascal technically is not a leader though, because when Kawhi left, Pascal was supposed to take the leading post. Van Vliet came in and took that.
That's a personality thing too, isn't it? Like, I mean, everyone is not. Leaders are born. Like, leaders are born. Like when I was 6 years old, I was a leader. I was a terrible leader. I was a terrible leader, trying to lead everybody.
You were a leader still, though. But you were still a leader.
100%. And I'm still a leader. I will always be a leader, but that's just my personality.
Exactly. It's a personality.
Yeah, you can get better at it. Like, I know Adrian Griffin is a good example of a guy who wasn't really much of a leader, and he's been doing like, hello, hey, how are you? Did you watch the Raptors? Did she watch the Raptors?
Hello.
Did she watch the Raptors too? No. Okay. What did she think of? Is she a Scottie Barnes fan? FA, is she a Scottie Barnes fan?
We're all Raptors fan in this house.
Okay. You get kicked out. You get kicked out if you're not a Raptor fan.
Shout out to Quedo for Mass.
Yes, sir. Always with the super chats. I appreciate it. Remember, everyone, Scotty is only 22 years old. This wolf is still a puppy, and he looks like Superman for some stretches this year. National holiday if he signs long term, hopefully. Hell yeah, man. Like, I mean, shit. You're talking about players wanting to stay in Toronto. I mean, this is a guy who's going to be able to write his own ticket to anywhere. And I think I'm really happy that he has good relationships with the front office right now. They have really shown him true integrity from day one. Every step of the way, they have shown him love, and they have shown him consideration. They never allowed him to feel that he was being thrown under the bus. They never dangled him in trades. He's a loyal person, and I'm sure he sees that. Anyways, guys, any final notes?
So final note, let's keep going. Raptors,
Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks.
Like you said, I hope we win the next game against Dallas.
Yeah, Mavericks. Yeah. We're going to see the Boston game on Friday.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just understanding the sports psychology of this, rooting for a team, rooting for a player, having the guy on your team, having this feeling of my guy is better than your guy. And you realize that the next guy really up is a really good guy, which is Luka. And as the game was ending, they were saying like, oh, next up Dallas. And I looked over at my girlfriend and I was like, good luck, Luka. Good luck. That is confidence. That is perhaps delusional and overconfidence. But I compared Scotty and Luka last year in my video essay, and I think they're actually quite similar. And it's going to be beautiful.
OG is going to be
OG is going to be on him. Yeah, he's a very tough matchup. He's having a really great year so far. And good luck to the Raptors there. And thanks a lot for you guys calling in, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. Have a
Cheers.
good one, guys.
Have a good one.
Take care. Thanks.
See ya. Bye. Yeah. Okay. And next up, we got Mubs, 2K Teacher, and Okan on at the same time. We're gonna bring them on. And while we are talking, we are going to download hopefully some post-game stuff. And we'll listen after this call, like after we talk to these 4 people, we'll listen to some of the post-game live reactions and stuff. All right, Mubs. Is it Mubs or Moobs?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on? Is it Mubs or Moobs?
Moobs, yep.
Moobs, okay.
Yep.
2K Teacher and Alcon. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, Rob. Good. What about you?
Hey, how's it going? We got another super chat here, which is unfortunately blocking Okan off the screen. My apologies. The Kawhi comparisons are interesting, but to me, that Scotty is most reminiscent of Charles Barkley, like a bigger, modernized version of young Chuck. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that at some point, perhaps towards the end of this, in terms of space generation and just the physics and biomechanics of basketball and just how he's succeeding on the court and just simplify it all. But yeah, he has a lot of young Charles Barkley, a lot of Kawhi, a lot of Giannis, a lot of Luka, a lot of Jokic. He's just a really big playmaker. But regardless of how you want to put it, a lot of those guys were in the center of the offense, either as guards, forwards, centers. Doesn't matter. Basketball is positionless. He's a positionless unicorn. How are you guys feeling? Let's start with Okan. How are you feeling? How was this game?
Amazing game. Like the fact that I was on the road in the first half and I came back home. Like I saw the score, I was like, damn, no, we're not losing this game. Like I had a feeling like the game against Dallas a couple of years ago when we did that like incredible comeback. And I don't know why I felt that. And Scotty just played godly. Congrats to OG, by the way, for the career high 3 points made in the game. It's just a crazy game. And man, like every time I see Otto in the court, I'm like, damn, how right was Rob? And we underestimated it. Like he really adds a lot to the defense, offense, like everything. He's just incredible. Again, in the previous live, I talked about Darko and his energy and decision making in the important times of the game. It's great. Also, the moment with Coach Pop and him talking and smiling at the end of the game was just too wholesome for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, look at the Raptors again, 39% from 3. And again, Grady does not really hit. It's not like some explosive performance. There's nothing really unsustainable about this. 39% is a very good 3-point shooting team. You hold the other team to 31%. You limit your turnovers. You out rebound them. That seems to be a bit of an Achilles heel. And look at that game flow graph. It's ridiculous. Like, look at how fucking sunk the Raptors were in that second quarter. They mustered 13 points in the second quarter. And somehow, and it wasn't just like a big, like, oh, the halftime turned around and they were great. Like, no, this was a continued gap until like 7, 6, 5 minutes. And they started to close it at the end of the third. Really, this was Scottie Barnes just putting his head down and saying, we're not losing this game. And that's exactly what it was. There was a crazy period where they pulled him out at 4. Oh, this is very interesting. So he's number 4 in the fourth quarter. They pulled him out at 4:44 in the fourth quarter, down 4. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
And one possession goes, huh?
I didn't pay attention. I just remembered the minute, but I didn't pay attention to that fact.
Like, there's so many 4s there. I mean, this could be like, I think this should be like something we should talk about at some point. The Darko Rajakovic did this on purpose. But yes, anyways, it just, the number stuck out to me. And while he was on the bench, he was so zoned in. And someone was talking to him. He wasn't paying attention. He was just like, put me back in the game, put me back in the game. And then they basically screw up one possession. I think it goes to 6. And Darko Rajakovic just looks over at him. He jumps up. But he didn't have to say, come. He just jumped up. He's just like sitting there like, how long are you going to let me rot on the bench? How long, and it's important, that rest was important. It's important that he trusted, his coach to put him back in right away. It's important that his coach trusted him that, he would be ready to be put in right away. But it's just that genius bit of coaching to pull him out exactly then, somehow sustain, maintain, right? Because I think it was Siakam who came in for him, right? Just maintain, keep it close, but make sure to get him that one. And it was actually about 3 minutes of rest in real time. That made a big difference because it gave him just enough juice. And I feel like this is where I say this coach cares for his players. When he described why Otto did not play those first 5 games when he was cleared to play, and when you heard Otto's response to it, there was a clear symbiosis of like, okay, these are two people who've had a discussion about this. 2K teacher, what's up, man? What'd you think of the game? Hello? Your mic is off, man. 2K teacher. Okay, Moobs, we'll move on to you. What's up, man? What'd you think of the game?
I mean, Scottie Barnes, he's a superstar. Like, no other way to put it. He is a superstar. That step back 3 to tie the game was incredible, man. We haven't seen something like this since Kawhi Leonard in 2019. Malachi Flynn off the bench gave you very solid minutes defensively. Pascal Siakam didn't look great tonight, but I don't know about Siakam, but
it feels like everyone has a train, right? That they start talking about the Raptors, and it's just like, oh, geez, great. Scotty's great. Malachi's pulling along, and then they just get stopped at Siakam. It's like the train just kind of stops. It's like a train of thought or something. It just stops. I hope you can pull it together, man, because I think at this point you're really seeing that this team has a chance to be decent. And I think it has a chance to be a better team than people give it credit for. I think they very much have a chance to be a very pesky, disruptive, interesting team in the playoffs. And I mean, it's reminding me a little bit of those Vince teams, with Antonio Davis. You have this one superstar, and you flanked with a whole bunch of complementary players. But it's just in this case, your complementary players are so good in theory. Pascal Siakam and O.G Anunoby and Dennis Schroeder, Jakob Poeltl. You have starters on this team. Like, I mean, in all honesty, if you told me that Gary Trent Jr. was starting for another team, I think I wouldn't be like, how does he starting? That he seems like a starter-ish player.
Yeah, he does.
Otto, if he was starting for most teams, I think I'd be like, that's great. But like, he is a starter level talent. You have depth. You have veterans. I've really appreciated. I know he has not played very much. Garrett Temple has been very, very
just that veteran leadership. Like, I think that's what we need.
Oh yeah, he's been such a calming. He's been such a calming force, and I mean, I know a lot of people were very, very upset with him, and because we had to waive Jeff Doughton in order to get him. But I think a genius stroke by Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster to know that you wanted one more. And again, the reason I say it reminds me of those early Vince teams is because you remember those early Vince teams. They had guys like Kevin Willis. They had guys like Muggsy Bogues. They had guys like that at the end of the bench, and they were just guys who knew how to be professionals. They knew how to be professionals. They keep things light. They're over themselves. They know that their prime is gone. They stay ready. They stay prepared. This is so undersold among fans, especially fans who just want like to run a high school team out there with just like 8 guys who are 20 years old. It doesn't work. It's never worked.
Look at
it's
Houston.
Not going to work. Exactly. Houston had to pay, what feels like $1 billion to get Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, of all people. But like, that's the point. You need mature adults in the locker room at some point, but ones who are over themselves. This is very important too. Ones who are nurturing, supportive, are egoless to some extent, who have like a clear plan of why they exist in the locker room. What is my job here? My job is to nurture. My job is to teach. My job is to support. My job is to guide. My job is to bring together. My job is to, share. Like, hey, that time when you're fronting him in the post, you might want to try this. It's so different when it comes from one of your teammates as opposed to coming from one of your coaches. And I know everyone just says, why don't you just hire the guy as a coach? If he's so old, he can't play. Why don't you just hire Garrett Temple as a coach? You cannot have the same relationship with a player when you're not his teammate. It's a band of brothers situation of 16, 17 guys, you know? And it's very important, especially with players like Grady and Scotty in this very impressionable stage where they can go one of two ways as professionals, that just keeping them focused, keeping them on track. It's a very important thing. And I, for one, am very, very happy. There was a tweet by Bruce Arthur who said, one of the benefits of Fred VanVleet not being here is Scotty can just take over a game like this without a debate. And I was like, amen. That's exactly right.
On the topic of Scottie Barnes, like what they were saying about him last year, and then what he's done now is just like, just proved them wrong. He just proved them wrong. And like they were saying, like I was about his trainer and stuff. What they were saying last year.
What'd they say?
I'm pretty sure they were saying like he's not like an NBA trainer. He's not like a good trainer. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but
fucking Christ.
Yeah, they're just like,
oh my God,
he's not gonna take that third-year leap with his training and stuff like that. But just
I read the Reddit bullshit about that, and all I'll say is that I've followed Brian, his trainer, for a while. I see everything that he's doing with all the young kids that he's working with. Scotty is in amazing hands.
Yep.
Okay. Amazing hands. He has amazing people around him. He has great habits. He has an amazing trainer. If I could, if I could swap Brian, like Scotty's my favorite player, that obviously.
Yeah.
If I could swap Brian with anybody, I wouldn't swap him with anybody, not even Tim Grover. Okay. So this is a guy who, he keeps him straight.
Yeah.
He keeps him straight.
Like a couple minutes ago, about Toronto media, like we have a superstar here, 22 years old, and we're the only city that wouldn't boost him up, that wouldn't gas him up. Like I don't know what the Toronto media is on, to be honest.
They're on Fred. They're on Fred and Pascal and their nurse and whatever. This is the people that they know. And, that's cool. It's fine. I mean, I'm sure that Darius Garland is not shit talking Evan Mobley to the Cleveland media.
Exactly.
So they have no reason to be anti Evan Mobley. Also, I will say that in their defense, wow, feeling very gracious today, Rob, just extending everyone there in defense. Here, I'll say this. Scotty is not a normal player. He's not normal in any way. His prototype is not normal. It's not like Shaden Sharp, where it's like, oh, I can totally see that. I've seen that 100 times before. That exactly projects to a star player. He is not normal. He is, a very strange player. Number one. Number two, he's also a very strange person. Worth noting too. Not a lot of 20-year-olds who come into a locker room with an all-star, all-NBA guy and just say, no, I'm right. There aren't a lot of guys like that. And when you are like that, you get crucified. If you go back, the closest thing that I can think of to Scotty in terms of a narrative arc is Kobe, which is ironic because it's his favorite player. And when you think about how much the Lakers fans hated how much Kobe Bryant was so selfish early on, and they would write stories about we gotta get this young kid in line because he's gonna run Shaq out of town. There wasn't a lot of support for Kobe. Please understand this. The media was not on his side. They said he didn't pass enough. See, this is the problem. Kobe could have come in and just been what Shaq wanted him to be, which is a Penny Hardaway, knockoff. But that's not the vision Kobe had for himself. Once in a while, you have someone who comes in and disrupts, I consider disrupts the rhythm of how things are supposed to go. See, if Scottie Barnes had come in and set picks and just graciously, gave all the kudos to Fred and Pascal, if he had never said that he was going to be a point guard, right? If he just accepted that he was a power forward like they wanted him to, or a center, he would never be ruffling anyone's feathers. If he would just play nice with the media and if you give them a nice little quote whenever they wanted, there would be no pushback. It's like Jeremy Sohan, right? Jeremy Sohan is so weird. Nikola Jokic is so weird. All of these people are weird. They're different, but they're not actually weird. They've actually just embraced themselves in a way that makes other people who haven't uncomfortable. Scottie Barnes is always himself. He doesn't care.
Yep.
He's just goofy. He's goofy. He'll dance. He doesn't care. Oh, you want to make a Twitter thread about him looking autistic because he's being a little bit goofy? Fuck off. It doesn't matter. It doesn't faze him. Because when you have accepted yourself in this way, it doesn't matter. The rest of it doesn't matter. Oh, media wants to tell me I'm trash. I take regress. I didn't work hard. I asked Brian about it last year. Said, does it bother him? Does he hear it? He's like, no. Doesn't care. That's the point. It's the same thing with Kobe. You could write front page LA Times. Kobe's selfish. He wipe his ass with that newspaper. He didn't care. right? That's the thing. When your vision for who you want to be is so clear and so determined and so ironed out that you laid it out, you laid out this map when you were in 6th grade, nothing is bumping you off your path. I mean, you want any evidence of Scotty's toughness, go back and read all the shit they wrote about him in grade 8 on the Hoop Diamonds Mixed. Oh, this guy's big for nothing. Watch when he goes up a level, he's going to be trash. I remember that. And did it bother him? Did it deter him? No. It's never deterred him. So every step of the way, like Shea is a good example. Shea is a good example of also a not so typical star. Jokic is another example of a guy who's not a very typical star. This guy, Okan's, countryman, Alperen Şengün is a really good example of a guy who's not very typical. When you look at him, you don't see star, but when you actually watch how he creates space on the basketball court, you're like, he could very much be a star. So sometimes we just we have an expectation of what a star is supposed to look like. When someone doesn't look like that, we try to belittle them. We try to put them in a box. And if they refuse to be in that box, we call them names. It's that simple. So I think the Toronto media needs to just kind of evaluate themselves and just accept that maybe they don't know everything. Maybe it's okay to just accept that this is not
wrong.
It's okay to be wrong. It's totally okay to be wrong, man. We all have bad takes. It's perfectly fine.
Media is just so funny. Like right after the game, I was like, "Oh my god, what did just Scotty do? It was incredible. So many highlights and stuff." And then, right, like after just 2 seconds, a notification comes like from the NBA, and it's like, "Watch Wembanyama's highlights in his matchup against Raptors." And it's like,
that's okay. I mean, yeah, I think that's good.
It's expected. He was good. But at the same time, there was just like a really huge comeback win. And this is the first thing you share. Like the first news pops up in my screen, not the Raptors win. Like, I don't know.
I think that's just because we're in Toronto and then it's US and it's Wembanyama, the next LeBron, whatever. Or the next face of the NBA, not next LeBron, but the next face of the NBA.
But think of it this way. Everyone's paying attention to this game, right? Internationally, NBA app, everyone's watching this game. And it's actually not a bad game from him. 5 blocks, 20 points. He played well.
Yeah, he had a great game.
It was incredible, not only stat-wise, but like the way he's just on the floor, like everything is
how he contests shots and everything. Yeah.
Oh, he's incredible. He's absolutely incredible. And I'm not even going to think about what would have happened if we had tanked and he would actually be on this team right now, because I could not think of, honestly, as a person. I've followed him for a while now too. This is another example. This is another Scotty situation where I've followed this guy for a couple of years now, and I've been watching him play and got to know a lot about his family and stuff. In terms of how he approaches the game, in terms of how he thinks about the game, in terms of how he thinks about his teammates, he's just so wholesome. He's all the right stuff. His work ethic, his schedule, his mentality is so perfect. And it's like, to me, so many of these young players, we celebrate them as great. Luka, great. Jokic, great. Giannis, great. But we never know what could have been if they had been in a different situation, what could have been if they had a different coach. For me, the good thing is basketball is a game that I very much am hoping grows internationally. And the game grows through stars. That's just fact, right? It grew through Michael. It grew through Magic. It grew through LeBron. It grew through all these people. It grew through Allen Iverson. So to me, when I look around the league and I really look at the young players that I feel like are definitely going to be, maybe 20 years from now, we look at it, I'm like, these guys are going to be top 50 guys. In the league right now, I'm looking around at guys under 23, 24, and I'm looking at Wembanyama and Scotty. Those are the two guys that I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, these two guys have a real chance to be in that crazy rarefied air conversation where they're going to like multiple finals, winning multiple MVPs, defensive player of the year, that type of shit. This would be like, 3-4 years ago talking about Embiid and Giannis kind of thing, It was crazy. It was a crazy conversation 4 years ago, but like, now it's like, yeah, those are the MVP candidates. So what I'm most happy about is that you have both of these players in perfect situations now. It wasn't the case last year for Scotty under Nurse and Fred and all that bullshit. So I was watching, one of the best players in the league, best young players in the league get wasted. But thank God for Masai Ujiri making this entire wholesale change on the roster, the wholesale change on, there will be no selfishness in Toronto, all of that. And Wembanyama gets drafted, not to the trash Houston Rockets organization. No offense, but seriously, I cannot stand that entire organization in terms of like their own ownership and stuff. just not a fan. And thank God he doesn't go to Charlotte. Sorry, FA. FA is from Charlotte, who was on earlier. I was just happy that he gets to go to the Spurs. I was hoping Spurs,
Yeah.
Raptors, that was it for Wemby. And it's really just about the player. Because we never know what Tracy McGrady could have been in a different situation. We'll never know what Yao could have been in a different situation. Sometimes it sucks. It sucks that the league is worked out this way, that the best young players end up in the worst situations. But very rarely, two of the best young players ended up in really good organizations that just happened to be bad that year. And I think that was really, really
Kind of
great.
like Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant. I'm not comparing Wemby and Scotty to them yet, but
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's an apt comparison to, two guys ending up in really good situations,
Yeah.
right? Whereas, look at Vince. Vince Carter ends up in Toronto. Organization is a mess. Coaching situation, mess. Roster, mess.
nice.
What would he have been in LA,
He could have been incredible, really.
right? What
Could have been
he
what Kobe is right now.
Dude, there was a time when really the debate was over in terms of who was better. It was a short window of
Yeah.
time, but for 2 years, and Shaq hated Kobe, and he loved Vince, and he and Vince were really close.
Yeah.
So there was a push. We've never heard, that it was offered because Jerry West was just committed to Kobe, and he drafted him and he wanted him, and they loved him. But man, if the Lakers had a slightly different organization, Kobe was out of there. And I got to tell you, Vince, I feel like if he had been pushed to defend earlier on, if he had won, if he had a more competent organization around him, I shudder to think what he could have been. Yeah, he was on a very different trajectory. Anyways, any final words from you guys?
Well,
I think this team could be really good this year.
Yeah.
And we just gotta continue to just keep getting better. Continue to just give the ball to Scotty more. I know that sounds cliche, but that's how I think the Raptors could get into the playoffs and could even make some noise in the playoffs. And I think Pascal will find himself eventually. Hopefully, I'm hoping. OG, he's looking great. He's looking like a defense player candidate. Schroeder looks amazing. Malachi
Big fan
Flynn
of
looks
him.
amazing. And when Christian Koloko comes back, I think he'll take that year to jump, as in like just be a great backup center, energy guy off the bench.
Yeah, I
I
hope
think
so
we
too,
could
man.
be pretty good this year.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Okan, any final words?
I also was going to say that, like, I was just thinking, like, Wembanyama versus Koloko, how would that matchup work? Like, in offense, Wembanyama.
It's a lot of arms.
I really would like to see that. Like, this is kind of my dream matchup right now.
His foot speed would have helped you, and in a lot of ways. I mean, what genius foresight! But I don't know if they did it on purpose. But to have a guy with Koloko's lateral quickness, again, I feel like I'm talking about a person that I don't know what his health status is, and it's scaring me every day that passes. But if he's right, he is the best, probably one of the 5 to 10 best matchups for Wembanyama right now, because Wembanyama is not strong enough to bully ball you. And really, it's like Koloko has like a 7'6" wingspan, 7'6", 7'7". He's gotten bigger, stronger. He's quick. I mean, really, this is the defensive matchup that you need for Victor Wembanyama. And I don't know at what point Wembanyama's shot comes into a point where it's just going to be impossible to stop this guy.
What a
Right?
gem find by Masai as well.
Yeah,
He was like pick
literally
38 or something like that.
33rd pick.
33rd pick.
Yeah.
Like,
All right, guys.
when he got drafted, I was thinking Wembanyama is coming to the league, Chet is in the league, so we may need like a good defense, like high wingspan defensive center, which is like agile, and maybe they drafted him for that. It wasn't.
It's smart preparation. This is a team that thinks ahead. Chet has been incredible. We haven't talked about him on this channel much, but he has been
Incredible.
a true revelation in terms of just how he's playing, and the year that they have put into him last year is really showing, because he could not have done this last year. I'm positive.
And also,
Go ahead.
I want to like draw attention to like Scotty being like top 10 in blocks right now. It's kind of weird to me. Like, is it going to continue? Like, not that much maybe, but for the whole
I don't
season.
know.
Not creating-
I don't think top 10 is sustainable. He plays so
I
much
don't
on the
think so.
perimeter, but
How he's been looking defensively is just it's incredible.
He's just like crazy. I don't know. It's a small
yeah.
sample, but
I mean, it's funny because, for years, I've been saying that you can't really judge a Scottie Barnes performance by the box score. Like, he does so many other things, and he's still doing all those other things. He's still doing
Yeah.
all of those, but now he's also filling the box score. So now it's like, okay. So now if you're a fantasy basketball person or if you're a betting person, now he's like, oh my God, this guy went 4th in my fantasy league. What the fuck is happening in the world, right? So now he's gotten the respect from, the basketball intellectuals, but he's also got the respect from the total casuals who are now like, can I trade you? Like, someone actually messaged me the other day, shout outs to Matt. He said, I've got Scotty on my team and someone is offering me Wemby. And it's one of those leagues where you just keep the same roster year over year, so you don't get him back. He's like, should I trade him? And I was like, what does your heart say? He's like, I'm going to keep him. So this is a crazy jump for Scotty in terms of just the stuff that doesn't get captured in the box score. He's gotten even better at that. But the stuff that does get captured in the box score, like blocks, steals, assists, I mean, geez, like, we haven't even mentioned it, but like, look at his box score tonight. Like crazy. He matches a career high of 5 threes. He takes 10 of them. They were all
50%.
pretty decent threes. 50% from 3. He gets to the line 11 times, which has been his biggest weakness this year. And he gets to the line 11 times, and he earned every one of those calls. 11 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds.
4 offensive rebounds is big.
It is huge, and they were really game-shifting ones. And he keeps his turnovers down to 3, for someone who handled the ball as much as he did. I think that was pretty decent. 6 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, plus 14. I mean, Jesus. Like, what more could he have done for
Toronto's
you?
going.
probably spectacular.
Feels good. All right, guys. Take
All
care,
right.
and thank you so much for calling in.
Too much.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
See ya. Okay, we got Luke. We got 2K teacher back. Hopefully your connection's working out. And we got Andre with his mic on this time. Hey, Andre, what's going on?
I'm so pumped. What's up, Rob? How you guys doing? How you guys feeling? I'm just loving this game.
Talk your shit, man. Talk your shit.
I was gonna come for you too, man. You wrote that thing that we're contenders, and I was like, no, we can't be. And then today happened, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna come for Rob. And then what happens? We pulled it out, man. We really pulled it out. Can I ask just one question to you? What have you ever played with a guy that just wants to win and just wants the ball, wants to doesn't do anything but just want to win?
Yes, I have. Yes.
But I thought that's what a part of an NBA player's makeup is, and I just don't see it from a lot of players on our team. But I see it from him, and I see it from
Bro, OG, like that
OG.
offensive rebound to push it into overtime was guts. That was guts.
Oh my God, man! Sorry, I'm too excited.
And that was
I know
touch.
everyone is always calm here, but damn, man, we played. Man, that game was good, man. Sorry, go ahead to the other callers.
What's going on, 2K teacher? You got your connection now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're a little bit boomy, but yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the point for me was when Scotty scored those 8 straight points and we're down like 13. That was special because he comes down, he hits a 3, then he comes down and hits a pull-up 3, and then the back down dunk was just, that was just, hey, you're smaller than me. I'm taking over this game.
Jeremy Sohan is a really decent defender. Like for a young player, that's kind of like Scotty's comp. They actually in San Antonio believed genuinely that Jeremy Sohan was the next Scottie Barnes. And as prospects, they're actually quite similar, but obviously as players, they're completely different. That's not an easy guy to move around. He's very strong. He's a very good player. I don't want to say very good player. He's a good young player and defensive pest.
Right.
But Scotty just moved him like he was nothing.
Right. And on the two
and snarled on him too on the road. Like that's disrespectful, Scottie Barnes.
Yes.
Deserve a technical for that. Just fucking,
and the back down wasn't even like he put all his strength into it. Like he moved him so easily. I was like,
oh man,
monster.
Andre asked if you've ever played on a team with a player that just wants to win that bad, it's true. You could just see it. People were just like, anytime the game got close, they were just pitching it out to him and just kind of clearing out, trying to do their best to just win. And you can see the bench just rallying around him. And I love the post-game interview where Scotty's answering the question and Garrett Temple comes up and just says, Scotty B, look, man, that's the shit that wasn't happening last year. Okay.
Right.
You didn't see Fred doing that shit for him. So, I'm ready to move on. There definitely is a little bit of talkier shit. It's gonna come. At some point, this sustains. Yeah, there will be some pettiness that will come out because I just, at the end of the day, it's been a really tough year. Last year as a Scotty fan, right? It's very tough for all of us. We got ostracized. We got called all sorts of names. We were told we were a cult. We were, but we were just looking at the game. We're watching this young player play really hard and being told that it's something completely different. And I'm just more so than for us and for this community and everyone for to not feel like, oh my God, we were so wrong. We were so crazy. Rather, I just feel happy for him. More so than anything else, I just feel happy for him because, look, man, this has always been his vision. He always wanted to be one of the best players in the NBA. This has been a stated goal of his since he was in grade 8. To watch somebody achieve their dreams is a very beautiful thing. Watch him win Rookie of the Year, I was so happy for him. When he found out about it, it was like, whoa, like, I'm so happy because he wanted it. He never pressed for it. He never said it, but he wanted it. It's a part of, like watching somebody work this hard and achieve what they want to achieve is great. It's really great. And when he signs that first big contract extension and that max, he's going to get a super max rookie extension or whatever he gets if he makes all NBA or some shit. That's going to be a happy moment too. And this is a book. This is a book, and we're writing it chapter by chapter. This is chapter 3 of Scottie Barnes' hopefully 20 chapter book. And look back at it 17 years from now, and as my man Jonathan Convoy said, just enjoy the process. There's going to be a lot of highs. There's probably going to be tough losses. There's going to be playoff disappointments. There's going to be all sorts of shit. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a player who actually has a chance every game. That's very much what contenders are built around.
Agree. I was actually impressed by the Raptors in the second half. To score 88 points in 29 minutes of game play, that was extremely unexpected and impressive. It shows you the potential that they have, right?
It does. When the offense is clicking. And it's not an accident, right? So the first half, the offense was very stagnant. There was a lot of guys cutting into the wrong spaces, a lot of guys not holding their position, a lot of guys not moving the basketball very quickly. And it seems like whatever was said at halftime, it clicked. It didn't click right away, but it started to click slowly. And then it's like they found something. And to be honest, like when I look at the game flow, like the majority of this damage was done in the last 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Like look at that. There was still a huge gap in the middle of the third, and then there was just this crazy surge, which was end of the third to the middle of the fourth. And I believe, there's this little curve. You see that little stagnation for the Raptors in the fourth quarter, that dip. That if you look at this as a chart, it was going straight up, and then there's a stoppage of the momentum. That's exactly when Scotty went to the bench.
It was like a stagnation.
It
was a flat stagnation, and then it popped up.
They didn't
right?
score.
Yeah.
I think they scored 2 points in that whole thing, or they scored 0 points. But yes, so that is exactly like how the momentum of the game went. And good on Darko Rajakovic for like really spotting it. I hope everyone saw what I was pointing to. It was just like blip like that. Yeah. It's very, very, very impressive win over a team that frankly is very young and very inexperienced, but also, has knocked off a really good team already. Granted, a not healthy team. I don't know. I mean, we're celebrating like we won a championship here. I think we're just all really happy to, end the losing, number one. Number two, to see this offense clicking for the first time. 2K teacher, I wanted to ask, where are you calling in from, man? I'm sensing an American accent or some sort of accent on you.
I'm in St. Louis, man.
There we go. Got it. My peoples, my American people.
So look, I wanted to say one more thing, and that is, I thought that this is where coaching matters, right? So After the game, Scotty alluded to it. He said that San Antonio likes to help off the corners. He really was talking about Victor Wembanyama. I mean, come on now. So the coaching, they saw something on tape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they basically said, we're going to go after whoever Victor's guarding time after time after time. And that's part of why OG was open so much, right? Because if something is going on in the paint, chances are Victor's going to help. And they know that, and that's part of him being a young player. But I thought that was one of the main things was that in the first half, even OG hit a couple threes, but in the second half, San Antonio never made that adjustment. Even when we started making shots, they never said,
They need to protect the middle, though. They need to protect the middle because Dennis Schroeder and Scottie Barnes were just getting into the paint at will. So he can't completely, like, Zach Collins is, I guess, average-ish as a defender. Like, he can't close down a paint. Like, they're running like a one-man defensive zone with Wemby right now, and he's very instrumental to closing a lot of areas. And I don't know. I think it was okay defense, better offense. The passes were quick, but when the passes weren't quick, right? They were getting blocked. Right. So if there's ever a team that is going to force you to actually not be stagnant, it is a team with basically a guy with an 8-foot wingspan that can literally shut down one side of the court. And he just kind of shifts over occasionally to the side of the floor where your more talented offensive players are. I thought it was a really gutsy performance by Wemby. To be honest, I thought it was a really tough performance for him. And he's a rookie, one of the most impressive rookies I've seen in a very long time.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Luke, how did you feel about the game, man?
G'day, Rob. It was pretty tough to watch, to be honest, that first half, obviously. But I think
where are you calling in from? We got accents. We got accents galore.
Yeah,
Where are you calling in from?
Melbourne, Australia.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We've had Australia, we've had Netherlands calling, we've had New York, we've had Charlotte. This is awesome, man. People in Toronto can't stand me, so I'm happy people across the world like me. That's nice. Yeah.
Wow.
Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all good. I think with that second half, it really ties in with Yak was saying last game about how it just felt not connected at all, and it was random and it was sporadic, spontaneous, just terrible offense. And I think that second half just showed how connected the players were, especially with Otto on the floor. Just much better. And none of these, I don't think we're going to see a lot of these fake comebacks like we did last year. I think we're going to see
real
Scotty
comebacks.
with 4 more real comebacks. Yeah, that's right.
That would be great. Yeah. I would be very, very happy to see this team close out some of those, really tough games that they've been, losing for the last 2-3 years, the number of times. And I mean, earlier on, the Chicago game, right? That was just oh my God, this is going to happen again. Why is it happening again? But
yeah, it hurts.
I don't know. There's a very good case to be made right now that we should be severely over 500 if we don't lose some of the games that we've lost. But I don't know. I think it's competitive. Everything has been competitive other than the 2 Sixers games. And with the 2 Sixers games, I think, throw one out of they're both on back-to-backs. Right, they were both on second nights of back-to-back. I'm not making excuses for schedule, whatever. And also the first one you didn't have OG, so I think you've played everyone competitively. There have been no terrible losses other than the Blazers one, which was just what the fuck. And I think the second Sixers one was also what the fuck for me. This team just not connected, not playing well, and you've got Scottie Barnes. I think so this is a crazy stat. Last year, Brian, his trainer, talked about using Scotty like Jokic, which is something that Scotty himself had brought up, right? Trying to be used more like Jokic. Yes, he still is a point guard in his mind, and he will still eventually be a point guard. But for now, using him more in the middle of the floor like Jokic with shooters, cutters around him, and that, of course, influenced the decision to bring in Darko Rajakovic. Here's a fun fact. Scottie Barnes right now is vastly outperforming Nikola Jokic in his third year. It's like it was dead even before this game, but now it's like he's actually outperforming him. Scottie Barnes is also outperforming Jason Tatum this year. This guy has officially like entered the conversation of top 20 players in the NBA. And that is
What's going on with Jokic?
What do you mean what's going on with Jokic?
I mean, he hasn't really been performing like as a team. How I think he'd want to.
What specifically are you pointing to? Because I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, the Nuggets have one loss on the season.
Yeah. In terms of stats, you're saying Scotty.
Sorry, whoever has that background noise, please mute your mic. That's some crazy loud stuff. To anyone who's listening on their speakers, I apologize.
It's a conversation. I just turned it down. You came up here, so you dropped all that stuff. They all. I can't mute it myself because he's in control of it once I go in. Once he calls me into the lobby, yeah.
That's funny because we can hear your whole conversation. That's hilarious, Luke. All right. Okay. Any final words, guys? We just want to.
Okay. All right.
That was kind of funny. That was kind of funny, though. Not gonna lie, that was funny.
Bro. Can I say, bro? Can we talk about Otto Porter Jr. and how when he got the minutes instead of Gary Trent Jr. down the stretch, like at the end, it was like night and day. Usually they close out with Gary Trent on the court, but Otto was doing so well, and it wasn't his shoe. It was just the little things like. Even when you were talking about that putback offensive rebound, he pulled the two players and boxed both of those players out and had OG slide in on that point. Like I just love what Otto has brought to this team, and it's like feels like the missing link in what the Raptors have been really, really needing with someone that's just composed, plays defense, boxes out. Sees the play, moves to the position to be in a position to be successful. Those are the things that I look for when I'm watching. I'm just watching him and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what Scotty needs. Yes, Scotty is him, but like when you see those little things and an OG playing so well, I think those things matter, right?
Yeah.
The second thing I wanted to say before I leave is that I only watched like the middle part of the fourth quarter and the ending because I was on a date with my wife, and they just started.
This is disappointing. I'm disappointed in you, Andre.
I'm sorry, but
this is the seventh game of the season. This is the seventh game of the season, and we will not tolerate this type of loose fandom. I mean, what the fuck is this? I mean.
So the wife comes first, I gotta make a happy wife, like
we gotta bring your wife on and we gotta let her know that
I don't know.
She's gonna kill you online. Man, we can't have you missing these hallmark signature moments of Scotty's career. Okay, this is like Kobe airballing all those fucking things you be telling your kids about this. Okay, come on, Andre's wife.
I'm
calling you out. I'm calling you out the same way I'm calling out these Toronto media people. Okay.
I apologize, yo. Okay, I'm gonna tell me what. But yeah, like just seeing Scotty just want it. It just want it, bro. Just like no, give me the ball.
Bro, look at this comment. Please look at this comment. I'm gonna die.
Come on. All right.
Fuck me.
All right, yo. That's your thing, bro. That's your thing, Sims.
Yo. That's funny. That's hilarious. Wow, how are you gonna do Otto like that, man? We just got over the Otto slander. Come on, man. Anyways, I mean, I hope this fan base can give Otto his flowers too. I mean, like you really, I think like we have come a long way as a fan base. I think over the last couple of years, I think really the basketball IQ of this entire fan base has gone up, either through healthy debates or through straight up slander or through everything that I guess the Raptors media is doing. To explore the deeper elements of basketball.
You were on a tear yesterday on Twitter, man. I was like, oh no, my guy, I just loved it. But the last thing though I would like to say before I let the others go is that I'm still giving the team 15 games before I say, oh yeah, trade this player or do this or do that. But Malachi Flynn, the way that he's finally kind of just being coached, being coachable, and
Yep.
actually making the decisions, I find his mistakes feel okay better now, because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
he's trying to do what he
He's
says.
making
Maybe,
assertive. He's
yeah,
making assertive mistakes.
love
This
it.
is where I can vibe with a player. If you make
Yeah.
tentative mistakes or you make indecisive mistakes, is
Mhm.
no way to help you in the tape. What do I tell you in the tape? If you just refuse to drive, refuse to
Yeah.
attack, I just be like, oh, you gotta attack. It's hard, you know. But if you actually attack, if you're being assertive as a young player, I can be like, you could try to attack left on this one, or you can try a spin gather or something like that, you know, or you can try to pass here. If a
Yeah.
player is not being assertive, there really is not very much that a coach can do to help them other than just keep reminding them to be assertive, keep giving them confidence. But I think Darko has found a way to connect with Malachi. And this is such a glaring weakness on this team.
Mhm.
And this was why I was so upset that we got rid of Jeff, because I was like, shit, man, if this guy doesn't
Yeah.
work out, like, you have a sure
Yes.
thing and you're getting rid of it. But hey, man, kudos to the Raptors for seeing what they saw in Malachi. This is a team that drafted him clearly because they believed in him. They stuck with him because they believed in him. And they stick with him now because they believe in him. And it just makes me think, well, if they can do this for Malachi, could they possibly do this for Precious? Because the results and the returns on Precious Achua figuring it out are fucking, you know, next level, right? Like the ceiling on like if Malachi is a demo, let's consider it that way. If Malachi is a demo of what Darko can do for a young player who has been lost in the NBA, and this, what we're seeing right now, this toughness, this point of attack defense, this decisiveness, the shooting, shot ready. Yo, this is a different Malachi. I haven't seen this Malachi in a very long time. I think the last time I saw this Malachi, he was in a pro-am when he dropped 73 points. Not the same player in the NBA. So now we're seeing this with him. Can he do this with Gary? Can he do this with Grady? Can he do this? Not that Grady needs confidence, but can he do this
You
with
have to
Gary?
buy
Can he do
in,
this
though.
with
The player
they
has
need
to buy
but they
in.
need to trust and they need to see. And I
Yeah.
think it also helps, you know, for people who might be on the fence right now, players who might be on the fence, it might help to also see it working for other players.
Yes.
They might
That's why I'm
notice, hey,
I'm
hey, he's been working with
hoping.
Malachi a lot. Look at Mally. We didn't see Mally doing this last year. Look at Mally now, you know, this might help.
I'm hoping Siakam can see it too. That's someone I'm just like, I'm hoping, because you know me, I'm on the trade. It's Pascal, but given the 15 games, I think even if you look at the games we lost, if he even had a 20-point game, we'd be in those games or winning.
I feel
Right?
like at the 15 game mark, Andre is going to be like that Masai meme,
Yeah.
you know, like when he's like rubbing his hands, walking through the tunnel, just like,
Yeah.
that's going to be him.
You're God. You're God. All right, cool. All right.
Yeah, I feel it. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for calling in. Appreciate it as always. Thanks a lot for keeping on your mic, Andre. I'm sure the audience appreciates your background. Very cool. I need to figure that out. People probably getting upset with my mirror and my loose table and my, you know, ironing board. Like, what the hell? Who does this? Who podcasts like this? So who does this?
A Sony A7 Mark III.
Oh, no. So like so here's the thing. People have often asked me like why these lives look the way that they do. Why are you, you know, streaming off in a 2011 Mac? Why is it 720p and all this shit? Well, actually, it's a bit of a fuck you. And I guess I want people to know about this. It's really funny, actually. It's hilarious. So I remember last year when these videos were blowing up, right? And I had a couple conversations with people in the Toronto media, and they said, "Oh, you know, your videos are so well edited, and they look so great, and you know, like congratulations." And I always felt it was like a bit of a, you know, like, hey, you know, you're getting away with you're punching the algorithm basically. You know, your titles are grabby, you're talking about controversial subjects, your videos are well edited, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess my big Jordan fuck you moment was I actually am going to make the worst looking live in the history of basketball. And I'm going to beat you every fucking night at your own game, literally. And I'm not going to bring on experts, and we're not bringing on the general manager. I'm bringing on fans. We're going to talk basketball, and it's going to be better. And we're winning because the truth always wins. I mean, and I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it out loud. If you talk truth, accept your responsibility, you know, to tell the truth, you win. You always win. It doesn't matter if you do it in 720p with an ironing board behind you with terrible lighting off a 2011 Mac. Yes, I swear to God, if they would let me, like if my 2006 Mac worked still, I would have probably done it off of that in 420p and still gotten it, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All the editing, all the fancy tricks, they don't matter.
Welcome.
4:3 ratio. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be funny. All right.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate it always.
See you, man.
Cheers. See ya. Bye. Okay. All right. Let's get to the presser. It is OG, it's Scotty, it's Darko, of course. So let us do that, and that will also give me a break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk to Richard. And if anyone else wants to call, we're doing one final call in. So if you're calling while that's happening, we're going to talk to you. If you call after that, we can't talk to you. So if you would like to call in, get in queue, and let me know what you thought about the game. We can also talk. Yes, just keep it respectful without getting super heated. But we can also talk Pascal Siakam trades. One Siakam trade package that I was thinking about a lot was with the Sacramento Kings, specifically for Harrison Barnes and Malik Monk, or Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter, and maybe a pick, and 2026 pick or whatever. I think those pieces would really, really help around Scotty. I think they're, both like guys who are already used to this type of system playing in Sacramento. Kevin Huerter is an incredible shooter. He's kind of like actualized in terms of an offensive player what you want Grady to be. Could be a really good player to actually learn from him as well. Harrison has always been one of my favorite NBA players all the way back to the draft. Not because he's such a great player, but rather because he's such a great professional and such a great person. And tomorrow we will have Leo Baez come on from the Sacramento Kings. He covers the Sacramento Kings, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk Sacramento Kings, Toronto Raptors, if there's a trade synergy here. And I promise you, no matter how many times he asks for OG, he's not getting them. And I believe also to the close to 400 people of you watching right now, I will do a Scottie Barnes video, which will be a video essay on his analytics, how they stack up. I was waiting for one more game. I got the game that I wanted, and now it's time to just hammer home the propaganda. So we're going to do that too. Okay. All right, let's get to this.
He is not shying away from those moments. He is craving those moments, and I'm blessed to have a player like Scotty to put him in those situations, And he did it all in the second half. He rebounded the ball.
Okay, can I just stop this for 1 second? He's following up with, when Scottie Barnes goes downhill, God help you, with, I'm blessed to have a player. Yo, I'm so proud of this dude. I actually read a Twitter post when he was hired, and someone said, oh, the Raptors hired Pensari Basketball because we're from the same country, we're from the same city. I'm so proud of him. Number one, proud of him for getting this win, but also super duper proud of the fact that he sees the correct thing in Scotty, that he's actually appreciating it, because he was on a press tour this summer, and he compared Scotty several times to Nikola Jokic, a player that he knows very well. And he did not make that comparison flippantly or without thinking. That's actually how he sees him. And sometimes as a young player, it's very important that a coach come in and see you as you are, which is what Jason Kidd did for Giannis, which is what Malone has done for Jokic. You just need that guy. You need that guy. You need that support system. So I'm really happy. Okay, I'll let this play without interrupting.
He was pushing the ball in transition. We had only 3 turnovers in the second half as a group, and he shot the ball really, really well. So he's a gamer, and he loves those moments. So he did an amazing job.
What does it say about that? He got that steal on the last inbound play, and had the presence of mind to call timeout. I mean, maybe you called timeout as well, but he did too.
For sure. He's so smart. He's so for a young player of 22 years old. He understands all of those situations. End of the game, we had really good conversations in the huddle as well. He's somebody that I'm relying a lot on between all that group that has a lot of experience. But for him as a young player, it was great. We told our guys there that we want to call timeout, but he was so alert that he did not make a dribble. He caught it right away, and he called timeout right away.
You obviously had OG on Wembanyama was it like the first time for you coaching against him? And you saw some obviously pretty breathtaking moments from him.
Oh, Wembayama is, I'm not going to say anything new. He is generational talent, but we matched OG's minutes with his minutes, and Wembayama ended up being minus 16 for the game. I thought that OG did the best you can do against that kind of talent and size and skill. And on the other side, I thought that OG did outstanding job a lot of times keeping us in the game with timely threes and, offensive rebound at the end with a putback. OG was outstanding.
I'm just curious, did OG start overtime on the bench just because you were being careful to make sure he was okay, or was it for the jump ball?
You know what? He played 15 straight minutes there, and shame on me for keeping him on the court 15 straight minutes. But it's we just wanted to give him a quick blow there before he can go back and finish the game.
The auto quarter, I think, was +9 in 19 minutes. So second time now seems to really stabilize whatever Wemby's out there with. How valuable is it having?
I mean, very valuable. His presence on the court. He just knows the game, and he knows where to be. Like, trust me, we did not script Otto at position 5 1 second, and he comes in there and he's telling everybody, "I'm 5. I'm doing this. You guys are doing that." Like, he is so smart, and it's great having him on the team.
Coach, for you personally, how does this win feel as you were a part of the Spurs organization in the past?
I mean, I love every single win. Don't get me wrong. I'm not choosing. Every time when we can get a win is special and it's good for us. This one was special for us, just building our character and being able to come down from minus 20 and then to win the game. So we know what we got, what we have inside, and we just need to find a way how to bring that every single night for 48 minutes. Yes, we made adjustments, but I don't want to share those adjustments. So I know that Coach Pop is going to listen to this and he's going to be ready for the next time.
I would ask you if you've ever guarded anybody like Victor, but I'm pretty sure I know the answer. What was the experience like, and what challenges did you provide that you had to deal with?
Oh yeah, it was just super unique. Never seen anyone that tall in life. So yeah, he was really tall. Covers a lot of ground. Yeah, he changes the game.
I assume like bumping him and being physical is the priority. After the catch, like what's next? What do you try to do?
Just try to make it difficult. Try to jump, but he's too tall. And see if he misses it. Just try to make it as hard as possible. But
is he a little quicker than? I mean, you can watch the clips, and yeah, he's pretty fluid moving. Does it kind of catch you off guard?
He's definitely very agile. He's a good mover. He's he's just very, very athletic.
Maybe, if you don't mind, maybe take us through that play. You tried to attack him one-on-one.
Yeah, I know. Just, he's too tall. He's way too tall.
Did he surprise you?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I thought.
You thought the rim was going to be
Yeah,
right?
but too tall.
What changed in terms of your offensive approach, not you, the whole team, between the first and second? Because the first was
Just attack the paint and kick out. Look for shooters, and then maybe redrive those kickouts, and then just try to move the ball from side to side, make them move, and then try to open up the paint, keep the paint open, and then attack them, and then in transition as well.
When you're starting off like you started off, can you guys sense that you're maybe going a bit too individual to try and get it back, or what is the problem when it's not working? Like there are some nights where you're missing shots.
Yeah.
That didn't really seem like one of them. There were a lot of turnovers.
I'm not sure. Once we started getting stops on defense, they were scoring pretty easily in the first half. Once we started getting stops, rebounding, running out in transition, and then limiting our turnovers, we got back into the game.
Just when you see Scotty, the way he played in the fourth quarter, like what comes to mind?
Just someone getting better and better every game.
You did a great job getting the loose balls, the 50-50 balls. Can you talk about the shot that you made, the loose ball behind your left, just kind of what you saw and kind of what you did on that?
Yeah, just Dennis shot the ball. Ball went up. It came out loose. I just came and shot at the floater really quick. I didn't know how much time was left, so I tried to do it as quick as possible. And then it went in.
Scotty, just reflect on your mindset going into the fourth quarter, and you had a pretty good game from them. And at that point, you didn't really take over. Conscious decision, or did you just feel it? Kind of the energy, what is it?
Just really wasn't getting things going, and we needed a spark. We was playing defense, start rebounding more. So when I pushed the ball, great things happen. Just staying confident, just knowing that we needed something to go, and it was just instinct, just my mind. I was just getting it going. We needed something to go, and I knew I needed to start doing something. And the second group, we were just playing really hard, running the floor. So everything just started coming together.
At 3-quarter, you took the tie, and obviously you put a ton of work into your shooting, not just this year, but leading up to this. What's your level of confidence that you're stepping into those kind of shots and those kind of moments?
Just staying confident each and every single one. Being able, knowing that I could make those shots, we work on every single day. To be honest, I didn't even know that we're down 3. I thought we were down 4. So, I just know we needed something, so I just shot it. And I looked up, it was a tie game. I'm like, okay, let's go. But yeah, just staying confident, staying in the gym, being ready to shoot those shots, stepping into it. Just got to have that confidence.
You stealing the inbound pass, calling timeout immediately. Do you have any instinct to try and do the launch, or?
Nah, it was just I asked before, did we have a timeout? Made the right read and tried to call it right away. It was a good play.
First time on the floor against Wembanyama. What is it like going on? I know you were only on him and he was only on you probably a few possessions, but what's it like attacking the rim when he's sort of hanging out there, and did you guys adjust to sort of his presence as the game went on?
Yeah, he's a shot blocker when he's out on the floor. He's really, every time you're by the rim, you just got to really watch out for him, see where he's at on the floor, because he's coming to try to block the shot. So just trying to be aware of where he's at on the floor. I think that's why we got a good kick-out threes today. That was mostly one of the effects of that, him just being ready to block a shot, so being able to kick out threes. He's trying to go for the blocks, and then just trying to be able to attack from there.
The Toronto Raptors have 2 important games right throughout the last 3 of these fights. What does he bring when he's on the floor with you guys? What do you see now that you're getting to see him?
He helps us out a lot. Just being able to be so smart while he's out there on the floor, being able to see those things. He's been doing this a while. He's won championships. So him just being out there helps us so much. Being able to be a leader out there when he's on the floor, talking to us, him communicating while he's on the floor, just seeing those different reads, making those big-time plays on the defensive end, getting those rebounds, boxing out. It's very big time for us, and he helps us a lot when he's out there with us. He also stretches the floor out there on the offensive end. He can go set a screen, pop. He has so much IQ and knowledge of the game. It just helps us so much.
You kind of look back last year, oh man, had he not been hurt, you can see the kind of impact he might have had.
He makes an instant impact when he's out there on the floor. Rebounding, defense, being a physical, just so smart. It helps us so much.
That was the happiest thing, that you're listening to one of your favorite players talk about one of your favorite players, and it really is the happiest thing. He's not lying. Otto Porter is incredible. And again, every time I say Otto Porter is incredible, I knock on wood. Please, God, keep him healthy. I just went out while these things play. It gives me a time to take a break as well. And I just noticed that my girlfriend is actually watching the live, which, I mean, that was funny. So, hey, Camellia, how are you doing? All right. Okay, let's bring on Richard Temple and Ghostface for our final conversation. Again, if you would like to call in, the link is in the description. We can have a final conversation. We can talk whatever you want. We'll let the conversation flow how it does. It was really interesting to see. And may I just present this to the Raptors PR? Please get O.G Anunoby more post games and get your reporters a mic, because that dude is straight up one of the funniest players in NBA history. All right, Richard.
Yep.
Ghostface. How you doing, guys?
Hey.
How's it going? What'd you think of the game?
Looks like they came back. Wow, incredible.
The second most obvious thing that has been said on this live, the first most obvious thing is Victor Wembanyama is tall.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, great questions by the Toronto media. I hope that tomorrow your article reads Victor Wembanyama ... tall.
Yeah. I even noticed, I think NBA had something like Victor Wembanyama shines an O-Tree Thriller, and the Raptors end up winning.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay. He's their golden child. They got to promote him. That's cool. Yeah. Scotty will get there very soon, and they will promote him as well. But you know, the thing that's sort of understated about this, stage presence. Stage presence is so important. You know, I remember watching Vince. Look, let's be just real about this. Toronto Raptors don't get a lot of national games, right? They don't get a lot of international games. And if you want to seek out the Toronto Raptors playing basketball, sometimes it's about as hard as watching the Orlando Magic or the Houston Rockets play basketball. It's hard to grow your brand as a player. It's hard to grow your status as a player around the league in terms of players watching you, et cetera, when you're only playing on NBA League Pass, when you're only playing on NBA TV.
Yeah.
So with the eyes of the world on Victor Wembanyama, everyone is watching the highlights of this play. Everyone's watching the highlights of this game. And what they are watching is, yes, they are watching to watch Victor Wembanyama, and they are watching to watch Pascal Siakam, maybe, you know, see what they, you know, what the star, all NBA guy. And what they're coming away with is, damn, this Scottie Barnes guy is really freaking good.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't have to lead with Scotty as the headline. He was the headline of this game. He was the tilting balance of this game. And I'm very happy for him, because everyone's going to watch this game. Everyone was watching this game. And this is the early Victor Wembanyama. Everyone's tuning in, right? Every video about a Victor Wembanyama online right now. I'm surprised I haven't made one myself. You know, it's probably good money, quick money.
Yeah.
The reason I'm not making is because I don't want a whole bunch of Victor Wembanyama fans flooding our subscriber rate and then making these videos like harder to pop out. But ultimately, you know, the eyes of the world are firmly on him. They're wanting to watch every step of his career early on.
Yeah.
And boom, Scotty, stage presence, knowing that, you know, puts up one of his, is this his best game ever? One of his best games ever.
It's up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Ghostface, how are you doing, man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, is it well, or is it like booming or anything?
No, that's cool.
You're good.
You're good.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So my thoughts of the game is, you mind if I be a little negative, or well, not negative, but
You
just
can say whatever you want.
positive?
We don't have a media. We don't have a media sponsorship. We don't have anything to worry about. It's cool.
Yeah, that's a
say
good
what you
point.
want.
So I wanted to talk about Malachi a bit. I
Okay.
think he will improve. Like you said, he improved every game
He has.
that he's played
been
in.
better.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think we should start him as like towards the end of the first quarter and into the second. He was the only one bringing up the ball, and I think a lot of those possessions went nowhere. I think he should trade some of those touches with Scotty. You know, they both bring up the ball, and you kind of see what you get out of that. Because a lot of the times when Malachi was bringing up the ball, he's not the best at collapsing the defense, and we were burning like 8-9 seconds off. It was going nowhere.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, look. If I hold Malachi to the standard of Tyus Jones, he's going to be trash, right?
Right.
I have to hold Malachi to the standard of who Malachi was yesterday, every single day. So for me, and this is like to any youth coaches out there who, you know, hold their players to a standard. You can only judge a player based on who they were yesterday, and if you're going to gauge progress, you want it to be going in the right direction. I'm not
Right.
expecting Malachi to emerge as the best backup point guard in the NBA. And certainly if Scotty was playing backup point, he would be the best backup point in the NBA. So, it's important. And the longer term vision of this is, it's going to suck for a bit, but if he figures it out, like by the 30 game mark, if he gets those reps that he was so desperately lacking last year, then you have a permanently secondary ball handler, in those lineups with Scotty, which is something you've really been thirsting for, right?
I agree.
And furthermore, you can't like trade him. You can't go on the market and say like, "What do you want from Malachi Flynn?" They're just like, I mean, you're gonna have to package somebody else, and it would just be no one's gonna like.
Yeah, I mean, like he's certainly a lot more valuable as a trade piece, as a throw-in piece than he was a week ago.
Right.
I'll tell you
Well,
that,
definitely,
right?
definitely.
He's consistently maintained his rotation minutes. Apart from one game, he's had burn in both halves.
Right.
There was one game where he got the quick hook, and he was terrible. And then after that, like that was the turnaround. That half where he sat was the flip.
Yeah.
From that point on to this point, he has been consistently okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
And that's
this is
all.
what you expect. Like,
Yeah.
First of all, like this is the only way his career can possibly work out. If he takes shots, makes them at a half decent rate, attacks the paint, gets past this man, runs the offense, organizes the offense, and is an absolute terror on defense in terms of just being a pest.
Right.
I have seen that for 3 straight games from him.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm seeing him dig on post-ups. I'm seeing him help and recover with everything he's got in him. He got a lot stronger this offseason. I am just genuinely, look, I like to root for the underdog personally.
Yep.
He was very sorry earlier on. Preseason was awful for me, apart from one game. First 3 games of the season, mind-boggling how bad he was. Like, honestly, possibly the worst player in Raptor history for the first 3 games. So this is a huge turnaround. So I'm judging it on who he was a week ago.
Yeah.
He's been much better.
And are you coming around on Dennis Schroeder? It looks like he had a pretty solid game.
Yes. I think he has been much better. I think if he can stop doing that thing that he does like 3-4 times a game where he just kind of just loses sight of who he is as a player, loses sight of his advantage, he could be a lot better too. I think, I'm not necessarily fine with running an offense through Dennis Schroeder. Like his league leading assists is sort of a double-edged sword, where that just means that he's handling the ball probably a little bit too much in your offense.
Right.
But he's doing the right things with the basketball. And as I break down the tape, one of the things I'm realizing is how consistently good he's been when he doesn't have the basketball. Like he's doing the right things when he doesn't have the basketball. He's not just standing there, like standing in a corner, sulking that the ball's not coming to him. He's not cutting into the wrong space. He's a little bit smarter than I perhaps anticipated.
Okay.
So he's been good overall. I think like so far on his season, it would be very hard with a straight face to give him anything other than an A- or an A for his performance so far.
Awesome.
Like he's been very good. Yeah. Any more thoughts here? Trades, anything? I mean, that wasn't really all that negative. I mean, you were bracing me for something like, whoa. But please continue. Like I feel like
Well,
I may
the
have.
only thing I can't understand is how do you come back from like 25 and then you can't beat Portland? Like, are they just? I don't know how that happened.
I think it's the energy. The energy definitely shifted when Scotty started scoring.
Well, Scotty was scoring in Portland. He was the only one playing in Portland, and he's still putting up the same numbers. So I don't.
I mean, Scotty banged his wrist in Portland, and a lot of the second half heroics that might have carried you to a win in Portland didn't happen because he just wasn't very effective. If you look at Scotty's game charts, I think Portland was the one game where he shot under 50%.
Okay.
He also shot under 50% today. So it's weird. I think I'd be remiss if I'd not say every team goes through periods of playing well and playing not so well, right? Okay. And if you're a coach, right, you want to weather the parts where you're not playing super well.
Right.
And ideally, however well or not well you're playing, you want to be playing your best basketball later in the season as opposed to earlier in the season. But a lot of teams do come out and they're very good in the beginning. There could be a lot of reasons for this: health, schedule, luck. They might come out 6-2, 8-2, 10-2, and conversely, a team may come out 2-8, 2-5, 2-7, and people panic And it's
Like
really every
20
year,
whatever. Yeah.
every year they panic. Last year, I was listening to Washington Wizards fans when they come out to a quick rise. Oh, we finally arrived.
Yeah.
It's like chill. Wait for 2 weeks. This isn't real. It's not sustainable, right? And there's a lot of factors that go into that. That could be, continuity from the last year. Maybe you have guys who particularly did a lot of work in the summer and they're just already at game speed, whereas other teams are maybe just trying to find their rhythm, find their flow. But ideally, you want to be starting to turn the gear around December. That's when you want to start really ramping up the minutes. You want to start getting the conditioning right. And then it's just a marathon to the finish line. And the finish line is different for every team. So a lot of teams that are really, they have aspirations of titles. They know that they're playing 10, 15, 20 games more in very difficult games at the end of the season, more than some of these other teams. So I'm not really surprised when a Charlotte or a Detroit come out and they look good in the beginning, because they're simply, the other teams simply haven't caught up to them. And it's also very difficult to judge an offense in which you have a new point guard, new head coach, new coaching staff, very difficult, and a completely new offensive structure.
Yep.
And especially when your offensive structure and your system and your process is completely counterintuitive to what you played like last year.
Yeah.
Like you're attempting to flip an offense, not tweak it, not adjust it. This is flipped. The offense and defense are flipped. Your personnel is still the same, so you're still a good defensive team. You were a good defensive team last year. You're better this year, I think. Personnel is similar. So to someone on the couch sitting at home, they might say, what's the big difference? You still have OG, you still have Pascal, you still have Scotty, you still have Yak. This should be more continuity than most teams have enjoyed. But the defensive schemes are so different. They're thinking differently. They're gambling less. I mean, really, you have very few players who are just constantly gambling for possession battles and stuff. No, they're playing much more conservatively. And they're playing much more straight up. I don't think the defense was good today at all. For most of the first half, I don't think the defense was good. Even the second half, I don't think the defense was that good. I think the defense was a major weakness today. I think the offense in the second half, however, was really just took off.
Yeah,
just really took off. There was a couple possessions where the ball just humming around. I'm just like, oh, one possession where it works and it makes sense, and you're just like, great. We don't. And to everyone who says, you got to put the ball in Siakam's hands or you got to put the ball in Barnes' hands, neither is the solution. That's not the solution.
Right.
The solution is to create an offensive system in which when you do put the ball in one of those players' hands, that they have a clean look, that they can get into the paint without a third defender, second defender cutting into their driving angle. And I've talked about it several times that basketball is a very simple game, and that at the end of the day, if you have proper spacing, and the spacing was horrible in the first half. Horrible. There was so much congestion. They were allowing Victor Wembanyama to just hang around. He was getting blocks. The pace of play was wrong. But when you play with pace and you play with space and you have good players, it works.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what do you make of this NBA play-in? When does this start?
The mid-season tournament?
Yeah.
It started on November 3rd.
Okay. And who are we playing? How does that, do you know where that lines up?
Yeah, you can check it out online. We'll definitely have a video where we detail exactly what's at stake, etc. But ultimately, it's it just plays out through the season, right? Up until I guess like December first week, and then it culminates in sort of like how you do in your bracket gets you advanced to a round robin tournament, and then you're in a division. If you come out of that division, you move on, and then eventually at the end, you play for a championship in Vegas. There's an excellent 2-minute video on it on the Dallas Mavericks social media channel on YouTube. That definitely feel free to check it out. I'm sure at some point we'll make our own video of it, explaining it for Raptors specific concepts. But I expect teams will take it somewhat seriously. I think it's a great idea, personally. Okay. I know like some people are very traditional about don't change anything ever.
Yeah.
This is not how innovation happens. Yeah, exactly. The NBA had a problem, in my opinion. They've addressed it. They've had several problems. First of all, they had a problem with tanking. They addressed it with the play-in to some extent, right? Giving teams. Yeah. It's reverse engineering a tanking non-incentive. And also, yes, they also fixed. Yeah, again, they fixed the lottery odds to de-incentivize tanking, because tanking is bad for the NBA, right? Yeah. you don't want teams. They've addressed, the stars sitting out and stuff with the game minimums for the All NBA stuff, and now they have addressed the final, elephant in the room, which is that no one really cares about basketball at this time of the year. A lot of people, who are more casual observers, they're watching football right now.
Right.
And because football games are way, way, way more relevant because there's fewer games, there's more consequence. The NBA is an 82 game, season grind, whatever. And people don't want to necessarily be paying attention until around the All-Star break.
Yep.
And that's a lot of revenue to lose in viewership. So now you're adding something, and I mean, look, people were very against the play-in. How exciting was the play-in last year? I mean, Raptor fans obviously were heartbroken about how it ended up for us, but it was extremely exciting across. The games were super competitive. And now you're getting some very competitive games in November.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's incredible, right? So you're breaking up the season into 3 different things. I think it's a really good idea, and I think it's going to work out really well, and I think it's here to stay. Will the Raptors have a chance to win, the first mid-season tournament? I hope so. That would be great because there are a lot of young players on this team that could use that money.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're definitely a fan of it. I mean, when the play-in first rolled around, there was a lot of pushback on it. But so far, the games have been pretty good for
people
one
like
night.
to push anything that's different. They like to push away.
Yeah, they don't like innovation.
That's the sad thing, right? We don't like innovation.
So maybe how does a trade work in terms of if you're GMX, so you're Masai Ujiri, and you want to your hypothetical go to Sacramento, you can make that call, but I guess there's times and places, and you have to.
Well, the Kings just lost to the Rockets yesterday, so that's tough, right? I mean, they're a good team. Pardon?
Fox is out, right?
I don't remember if Fox was out, but I know that Dylan Brooks absolutely killed them, which is never a good thing, right? This is a team, the Sacramento Kings, that correctly or incorrectly believes that they're close. I don't really have a comment on whether they're close or not, but I mean, if they believe that they're close, then maybe they feel like they're one move away. I've talked about it before that Pascal does have roots in California. It's kind of like where he trains in the off season. Sacramento is not LA. Obviously, it's not as big a market as even Toronto, but it's warm weather for him. He seems to really like warm weather. So you're not sending him to a bad organization. You're not sending him to a bad coach. I think Mike Brown would be really good for him. And for the Raptors side, obviously, you just get 2 players who fit a lot better in terms of in the type of offense that you're trying to run. Kevin Huerter is not old by any means. He's a really good player. He's a former lottery pick. Harrison Barnes, former lottery pick. These are not bums. I know that casual NBA fans don't know a lot about Harrison Barnes other than he was on the 73 win Warriors team. Great defender. Getting up there a little bit in age. He's past 30, but I mean,
have the
he's
Raptors
still a really good player.
And the Raptors have wanted him?
The Raptors have wanted him, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there an offer on the table?
I don't know. But there were conversations this offseason about OG and Pascal to Sacramento.
Okay.
And so we will see, I don't see OG going anywhere. Again, touch wood. Again, if you're trying to build a system around Scotty, you're not trading away O.G Anunoby.
Yeah, you're just
it's his favorite teammate.
It's a non. Yeah.
I mean, it's really he's really the reason your defense has been as good as it has been. He's flashed all sorts of potential, and also just the type of person that he is. You talk about selfishness. You talk about not wanting to play selfish. This is not saying that Pascal Siakam is selfish. What I am, however, saying is that OG Anunoby is the exact opposite of selfish, right? So there's the last person in the world that you would ever want to trade away if your goal is to build a functional locker room with guys who care about winning. He's a guy who cares about winning to the extreme ninth, and so does Otto. And I think these guys really fit around Scotty.
I guess the only concern with OG would be, I think he went to Nick Nurse and said, I want to start shooting more and getting more.
That's not a concern. I mean, he probably sees himself as a more efficient scorer than Pascal Siakam. Most people who look at basketball like N1 mixtape can't see that, but he has been almost equally as effective scoring the basketball and probably from more valuable places on the court.
Yeah.
And again, this is a developmental argument. He's been kind of underrated. He's not getting massive steal numbers, so his defense is kind of going underrated, right? He's not getting the recognition, and unfortunately, you got to look at it from the Fred VanVleet argument. The numbers dictate the contract. This is sad, but it's true. If you want to get a max offer, then someone has to sell that they're giving a max offer to you, to their fan base, right? You have to leverage the offer. So you are O.G Anunoby, you go to Masai Ujiri, say, I want a max offer. They want to know, what's your second offer? Like, what is your second offer that we are trying to beat with a max offer? Who else is out there giving you a max offer?
Yeah.
And ultimately, whether teams love him, and I'm positive all 29 teams love O.G Anunoby, and players around the league love him. Luka loves him. Jason Tatum, all the players around the league would love to play with him. Dame would love to play with him. So he's a guy that everyone just respects.
Yeah,
but
really
this
portable.
But this quiet secret does not necessarily mean that Atlanta can go out and sign him to a max contract and not get killed in the media. So you have to create the box score impact as well. So you can do it through 3 steals per game. We're signing the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
He was all defense. You look at him, 3 steals a game. Or you can create it by being a 20-point per game scorer. And I'm sure if he was playing next to some freaking Jason Tatum, he wouldn't be talking about this. But he's playing next to Pascal Siakam. He's not an idiot. He knows that he's more effective scoring the basketball than Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam, or at least relatively close to those guys. So why does he have to take third seat? Because Nick Nurse felt he should take third seat. You know what I mean?
Fair
So and he's working the hardest on defense too. He's taking the hardest assignment every single night. If anyone deserves more touch on offense, it's him.
Okay.
And I'm happy he's getting it. Because right now the ball is actually finding him.
Okay.
But to be fair, I think OG's better as a catch and shoot. Like he's definitely decent when he's driving, when he's a ball handler, but he's still a bit raw on it, if we're being honest.
Yeah, but where have the game reps been for him to do that? Now,
That is
I'll
true.
fully agree with you that it has looked clunky at times. It hasn't been effective. At times, it has looked downright bad. His isolation scoring numbers were bad last year. Post up, some of the mid-range stuff was really depressing with him, and I get all of that. But at the end of the day, how bad did Pascal Siakam look as a lead initiator in Tampa? It looked terrible, but you gave him a full year of rep and run for that, right? I think OG is a lot smarter than people think. His off-ball charting and everything I see, when I break down tape, very rarely do I see OG Anunoby making mistakes. I'll tell you that.
He moves to the right spots. He knows what he's doing.
He moves to the right spots. He cuts to the right spots. He holds his screening position. He's doing all these things to help you win. So yeah, sometimes, if you're a player out there, you're going to say like, hey, like I'm doing everything for the team. There's one thing that I want to do for my own self, for my own development, for my own career. I think I can be more than what I am. Can I get, 10 pick and roll ball handler results a game? And I'll try my best not to turn it over. And, as a coach who is prioritizing the long-term development of an OG Anunoby, you have to try and bend on that. He may not be the best at it right now, but you're not winning a championship this year.
True.
Yeah.
The contender argument is really like you could be sneaky first, second round team. I think really you have to start thinking 2024, 2025.
Yeah.
This is really the earliest possible date that this window can start. And ideally you want to do everything in your power right now, which means not throwing away picks, not making stupid trades, not, wasting development time any more than you already have the last 2 years, to prime yourself to support your superstar, which is Scottie Barnes, because he's taken his step. He's going to continue taking steps. I hope at some point this year, Brian and I can have another interview and talk about the season Scottie's having, because last year it felt a lot like we were trying to explain what was happening. And this year it's going to be a little bit of gloating and a lot of told you so's. But it's probably just a different conversation. But I think people are going to be really humbled when they find out just how far Brian thinks Scottie really is right now from what he's going to be.
Ooh.
So for me,
That'll be exciting.
It is. It is very exciting. And so for me, the whole conversation last year was I need people to stop comparing him to Draymond. I need people to stop making these comparisons, because you've never seen Draymond. Like Draymond cannot do in his life what Scottie Barnes is doing in a minute in terms of offensive creation and scoring and efficiency is crazy. So what I wanted to, really, it's not me trying to be a puppeteer or anything like that, but just as a media person, you want the truth. Like I'm not media per se. Like I said, I'm new media. I don't know what the hell I am. I'm just a guy on YouTube talking out of my bedroom. But the truth is, like, I wanted the conversation to shift away from Scotty, Draymond, Scotty, Kyle Anderson, because that's not a player anyone's excited to build around. The next Draymond, you want to build an offense, you want to build a championship team around the next Draymond? No, you got to put things around. That's one of the guys you put around. So the conversation around Scotty immediately draft night was Draymond. And I was like, no. This is a lot more Giannis. You got to go Giannis, Jokic, Luka. And that sounds absurd because the guy can barely dribble a basketball and shoot. So that's the conversation. And now we got to change the conversation from all-star to MVPs. The conversation needs to keep changing because his goals, I think people will be shocked to realize that this guy really wants to be the best player in the NBA.
Yep.
I mean, even right now, people are like, okay, well, he's hit top 25.
Yeah.
This is as good as it's going to get. It's like, no, it's not. Touch wood. If health stays on his side, this is just going to keep growing.
And you
growing.
can get the right pieces around him.
Absolutely. Even right now, when I'm watching his dribble counters and I'm watching his post moves and I'm watching his jump shot, I'm like, give it one more summer. Like, he's doing so much already. He's already been doing so much. Give it one more summer, and you will see just how freaking unstoppable this guy gets. You might have to start doubling him at a half court. And I'll quote Brian on this one. It's like some shit you never seen before. It's exactly. He was right. He was right, and a lot of people were fucking wrong, and that's okay. I think those people just need to adjust, and there will be no more problems, and we can just enjoy being one of the rare fan bases with a 22-year-old ascending superstar. How nice is that? Can we just stop being at each other's throats? I don't care anymore what you guys said. Just stop saying it. Stop doubling down. It's cool. Shit. Like, if he came out today and scored 8 points and we lost by like 30 points, I guarantee you these people are writing like crazy negative shit for the next 4 days. You know what I mean? Like, it would guarantee, because they're just waiting. They're waiting to say
for his first game where he's crap, and then they can say,
exactly.
See, we got to go back to Nick Nurse style or something. Like,
back to Vision 6-9.
No, it's literally like that though, right? Like, it's like like waiting.
I hope two things can happen. Number one, I hope fans can wake up to who they're reading and what those people are saying and how wrong they've been at pretty much every single step. They said Siakam was superstar. Nope. They said the offense was created without Fred. Nope. They said, this new coach doesn't know what he's doing on defense. Nope. They said Scotty was going to be a role player. Nope. Like, they're just wrong. They're just fucking wrong. It's like, honestly, if they want to start being right, just do what George Costanza did in Seinfeld. Remember the opposites? So basically, any thought you have about basketball, this is just free advice to the Toronto media. I'm not trying to be catty or salty or whatever. Any idea you have about like a player, just write it down and then just change all the words to the opposite, because you will be probably 100% more likely to be correct.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes. Okay. Thank you guys for coming on. Any final words?
So you want to go first, or?
No, go ahead, Ghost.
I was gonna say, I lurk around this community a lot. It's definitely my favorite Raptors community, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I do like what you're doing. And last comment I'll make is, I think we should just talk real briefly about the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God we've got a coach that cares about not riding these superstars. Because, like, he talked in the presser about OG and like, well, shame on me for not giving him time to rest. I don't know if that prevents injury but at least he's not like, these guys aren't. Wow. Finally,
Sorry, I'm just trolling this comment. Yeah. To be fair, no one knew Barnes would be this good. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. His trainer came on the show last year and told you, like, we played cap or no cap. Do I have to play the fucking clip for you? We said 3-time MVP, and he said cap, that's too little. So yes, we told you on this channel last year that he was going to be this good. Like, I didn't think it was going to come out this early in the season, but like, this is exactly like what we were talking about last year. 23 points per game, 24 points per game. Yes. I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here, but like, yes, this was written and this was clowned all year last year. What do you think? I devoted my channel to fucking the next Draymond? Like, crazy? Like, come on.
It's because Scotty's a hybrid player. It's kind of harder to know how good he's going to be because you didn't know what like career path he was going to take. Like, he's a bit of a Tatum, bit of a Giannis. He could be a bit of Sabonis with more gravity. So when he says, nobody knew Barnes would be this good, we didn't know what.
Is he saying Bane? Oh, my bad, yo. I assumed you meant Barnes. Desmond Bane. I don't know who Baines is. That you meant Desmond Bane. Bane. Okay, my bad.
I'm talking to somebody in chat who was
my
like,
bad.
I've seen the whole we could have had Bane, but we got Flynn. Probably responding to that.
Okay, gotcha. My bad. I take it back. I don't really take it back. That's
Was
It's
there
just
any evidence that the Raptors wanted Precious Achua instead of Malachi Flynn? Because they went like right after each other and
they didn't go right after each other. They were separated by 6 picks. Precious went early 20s to Miami. And yes, there's evidence that they wanted him in the draft, and probably had he been available at 28 or 29, wherever Malachi went. I think Malachi went 28th, right? And then Peyton Pritchard went 29th.
Oh, I thought for some reason okay.
Or was it Peyton Pritchard who went 27th, Malachi 28th, and then Desmond Bain 29th? It was those three were bunched together. And so Malachi's really sticking out like a sword because those two have taken a step. They've both been extended. Malachi's sitting here without a contract. So, you feel the pressure.
But there was evidence that they wanted Precious because that's who they ended up with.
I mean, there's evidence by, Masai Ujiri basically coming out after they traded for Precious and saying, "You're mine. You're finally mine." Yeah. This is a player that and again, I'm kind of learning not to doubt Masai Ujiri's scouting chops. Like he's making mistakes on all other elements, free agents, whatever. But in terms of scouting young players, this seems to be like something that he has just figured out and mastered.
I guess Masai's not the type of GM to just go for it at the time, though, right? And offer. Like I think there was a trade when Philly wanted a player and they gave a first and made sure. I don't know if it was Ben Simmons era of time, but they traded and they went and got their player. Or it was Markel Fultz or somebody, but they wanted a player and they gave Boston the first.
Yeah, someone's saying no. Malachi went 29th. Okay, so Malachi went 29th, and then where did Bain go? Yeah, I got to look back at that draft now. Desmond Bain went 30th. And then Peyton Pritchard went 28th. Is that it? I know they were all bunched together within 4 picks.
Okay.
Anyways, someone's saying Masai never misses. I mean, he misses, but he makes calculated gambles. Bruno, DeAndre Daniels. Oh my God, right over Nikola Jokic and Jeremy Grant and Spencer Dinwiddie. That is a miss, if ever there was one. Canadian Bro TV saying, "Wait for Dick to explode." See, I feel like you did that on purpose.
Yeah,
personally.
you know what you're doing.
That's funny. Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, guys. Great win for the Raptors. On to the next one against the Dallas Mavericks. I'm looking forward to it. I love watching these marquee matchups with Scotty and like other league stars, and just seeing him, because when you're a young player, you imagine going up against toe-to-toe. Nobody in their right mind ever thought about, well, one day I'm going to get to the league and beat the crap out of Raja Bell, right? Nobody thought about that. And people thought, like, I want to go toe-to-toe with Kobe. I want to go toe-to-toe with whatever. So, if you've been watching the league, as a young player at Florida State, whatever, you're probably thinking, like, I can't wait to get into the league and give Luka the business or lock him up, do something. Yeah. So I think, with a couple of days off to rest that ankle that he rolled last game, I am excited to see what the Raptors can do against the Dallas Mavericks. They've been playing pretty well this year.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sure. I mean, they didn't even make the play in last year, right?
They tanked.
Okay.
They tanked on purpose. And they look like geniuses for it because Derek Lively has been awesome for them.
Okay.
So yeah.
He was what they needed.
He is exactly what they needed. And they got rid of Christian Wood. That's great. You get better automatically when you get rid of Christian Wood. Yeah.
I mean, he's been playing decent on the Lakers. Kinda.
I haven't watched it, but I cannot believe it.
But he has
I'm open to.
He has a paint warmer in AD, so he's doing like the Cat Gobert route. He's able to commit a little bit more to his man because AD is roaming the paint. But on offense, like sometimes Brown sets him up well and he hits it. Sometimes he does the same things he did in Dallas, which is take a boneheaded shot. But he looks okay-ish.
Yeah. I mean, again, like this is a guy who could go 20 points on solid efficiency and make no impact on the game. There are those rare players. They just
Jalen Green.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jalen Green, I think will settle for high efficiency. If Jalen Green could ever get to high efficiency, no impact 20 points, I think Houston Rockets fans would be very happy. But yeah, it was very interesting the other day to just look back at the 2021 draft and see who's doing well and who's not doing well. Josh Giddey is really playing poorly to start the year. Cade Cunningham, just the impact metrics are not lying to you on that guy, man. Low efficiency.
What did they say? Because I seen you have this like take a lot about Cade, but I'd like you to expand on it. What don't you see in Cade besides the metrics?
It's really just advantage generation creation.
Okay.
How does he get space? How open does he get himself? How open does he get his teammates? It's really just a very simple game. Basketball is such a simple game. I talked about it a lot this season, but really it is one man or woman trying to get one ball into the basket as 4 people help and 5 people stop. It's actually really that simple. So really, it's like it doesn't really matter how you get to your spots. I think the best player of all time at getting to his spots was Michael Jordan. Couldn't keep him off a spot. He was too quick when he wasn't quick enough. He was too strong when he wasn't strong enough. He was too skilled. He always had a counter, double counter. You look at Hakeem Olajuwon, same thing. You look at Shaq, same thing. Every great player of all time has this ability to get to these places on the court, and no one can stop them. And they have the IQ that they're always like a play, at least sometimes 3 plays. In the case of Larry, Magic, guys like this, there's sometimes 2-3 plays ahead of players. So when you combine those unique packages, then it's just a matter of skill work, getting better at hitting the shot that you're creating for yourself. But the whole point is getting yourself open. How open are you on those shots? Rasheed Wallace got himself open a lot. She was impossible to stop on the block. That's why he is, in my opinion, the best player on that Pistons championship team. And even if his numbers don't say that, and even if Chauncey wins finals MVP and Rip is the leading scorer, it doesn't really matter. You have that guy that can get you the 2 points. And I don't see that in Cade.
So you don't think he gets to the spots well? Is that what it is?
I don't think he gets to the spots clean. I don't think he gets to the spots well. I don't think he sees the game nearly as well as you would like someone like that to. I don't think he's athletic enough. I think he's smaller than he's advertised. He came in as a 6'8" guy. When I saw him in Summer League, standing next to Killian Hayes, he looked about 6'5", 6'6", and then they adjusted his measurements to 6'6". So I don't know how he lost that, but it was always just it's a PR campaign, right? 6'8".
It's somewhat common for college people to come in and extend their height a little bit. I heard.
Yeah, sure. Scotty came in as a 6'9" guy, and then immediately it was adjusted to 6'8". But I mean, he really is a legit 6'9" now. So
yeah, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah, but I mean, with Cade, you really can. You really can with Cade. I mean, like OG's 6'6", he's shorter than OG. You can see the difference. So, and the reason for the height being such a disparity is not because like it's it matters so much because that is the gap. The gap is so small with him, right? He's so skilled at an early age. He was so skilled. The gap is so small with him because he's not very athletic. He needs to be that big. So if he could have Josh Giddey's height or Scottie Barnes' height right now, yeah, there's certain things that are closing off for him right now that might be open, right? But as these other players start to catch up to him in terms of their skill work, where he's already been that far and he's been physically developed and he's very strong, I'm very impressed with his defense. Very impressed.
Cade is, I have him at like average, could be slightly above average. I think he's a better defender than Killian Hayes.
He's easily a better defender than Killian Hayes. Yeah, I just don't see him as an offensive engine. I think if he's your third best player, you're all right, maybe. I've never seen him in that role, though. I haven't seen him in that role since, like, I've never seen him in that role. Mauvert, he was killing it. He goes to Oklahoma. Like, he's there, like, 1, 2, and 3 option. He's dominating possessions. He's I think he went there because his brother was on the staff or something, right? So, I mean, he's there, and it's just like, I've never really seen this guy play off the ball. I'm sure there's tape of him playing off the ball in like early AAU, but once he launched, and he's been that way. And so at this point, where's your offense with this guy? Well, he's -5-ish box plus minus right now, or 4. Like, it's hard to be that bad when you're, supposedly this good. You rarely ever see it. I mean, these numbers are not conclusive. So if one of them is telling you this guy's not really very good, but when all of them have been telling you for 3 years that he's not very good, I think you need to pay attention to the numbers, man.
Also, it doesn't help when you go into a crap team like Detroit has been for the past.
But see, everyone always says that with him and Jalen Green. They always say like, "Oh, he went to a crap team," and this whatever. But it's like at some point, like if he was a superstar, they wouldn't be a crap team.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Like LeBron went to a shit team, right?
Yeah.
He went to a sorry ass team with like really very little help. By year 2, he was 8+ box plus minus. Okay. He went from 1.6 to 8, or 1.2 to 8. Like Scotty had more win shares as a rookie than LeBron. The year 2, oh my God, the gap. They got him a little bit of help in year 2, and by year 3, I think he was carrying his team to the finals. Like, this comes fast. And he
Yeah,
was a
he's
high
seven.
schooler, right? He was a high schooler.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it wasn't a good team, right? He had guys like Daniel Booby Gibson on his team and Larry Hughes. I mean, he didn't have some super stacked team. If you're a good player, you learn how to play. Easy.
The second best player was Drew
I'm
Gooden.
just saying you might find your role on a better team, like say Golden State or.
If Cade was in Golden State, Cade would be an off-ball spacer.
Okay.
Cade would be a movement shooter. That's not his game.
Okay.
He's not a movement shooter. So it's like, so now he's a secondary creator. Well, who are you taking the ball out? Whose hands are you taking the ball out of to give Cade the ball? Is he a better passer than Draymond? No. Is he a better passer than Steph? No. Is he a better passer than Chris Paul? No. So this is like this is the generalist argument. Master of, the jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
That's Cade Cunningham in a nutshell. He is like the jack of all trades. He can give you a little bit of isolation scoring. It's not super effective. He can be a big time playmaker for you, but it's not super efficient. He can be a good defender, but he's not a lockdown defender. So his only really track forward is star. And they keep pushing it because there's no other, like with Asar Thompson right now. I like Asar a lot. I like Jalen Duren a lot. I like a lot of players on the Detroit Pistons, actually. Those two specifically, though.
Okay.
With Jalen Duren, you don't need to feed him possessions like they did in high school with him. You don't need to do that. He could do so many things for you. He can be a shot blocker for you, rebound for you, hustle big for you, roller. He could do a lot of stuff. It's the same thing with Asar, right? He's a playmaker. He's got some playmaking chops. You can run some secondary actions with him. You can use him as short roller, but he can lock down defensively for you. Like lockdown defensively for you. He can be a great rebounder for you, offensive. So what are you doing on the basketball court when you're not doing what you want to be doing on the basketball court is really my point. Like with Grady, his shot has not gone down. His defense has not been good so far, but he's doing so many good things for you. He's doing like a lot of the off-ball stuff. He's tipping offensive rebounds. He gets you extra shit. Like he's doing things when his shot is not falling. I like those types of players a lot, especially when they're young. So a guy like O.G Anunoby, he comes in. Is he being featured on offense? No. He's standing as a fifth option on almost every single lineup, just standing in the corner, spacing, but he's giving you lockdown defense, which is why he started as a rookie. See, some guys, they earn their keep. Some guys, they're handed their keep. I feel Cade has been handed his keep a lot, and maybe his path would be different if he had been asked to be a role player early on,
right?
Where some of his secondary creation skills would have come into play. I don't know what the player comp would be, but I think the closest comp that I've ever thought about with Cade was like a smaller Paul Pierce.
Okay.
Like a less effective poor man's Paul Pierce. That's what I saw in him back then. People keep telling me Luka. No. Not even fucking close. Luka saw the game better at 15, 16 years old than Cade sees it at now.
Yeah.
It's just completely different mind, completely different vision for the game. But I hope he works out. Seems like a really, really good dude. And I'm not throwing shade. The Scotty Cade debate is way over now.
Could he go like Ben Simmons, where he does master of jack trades, and could he go that bad?
I don't think with Cade it's an ego thing.
Okay.
I think with Cade it's more like
Like
the people around him they've promoted him as a star. The 2021 draft class. I mean, people don't remember now, but Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham, like there was a legit debate that this was like the best draft class in 20 years.
Right.
This draft class was very favorably compared to the 2003 draft class.
It just wasn't. Yeah.
And it wasn't. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess they were not expecting so many Darko Miliciches at the top, right? Because, I mean, LeBron alone clears the top 3 picks by himself.
Yeah.
Carmelo alone clears all. In terms of value added through the first 2 years and change, Melo clears these guys. Wade clears these guys. Yeah. Bosch might clear these guys. Bosch has been better. Like Bosch, not my favorite player at all. Bosch versus Evan Mobley is a debatable topic.
Yeah.
But as a prospect, Bosch was further along offensively, way further along and way more consistent and just impacting winning right around the same. So Bosch and Mobley, you might have gotten that part of the 2003 draft comp compared whatever. But where is your LeBron? Where is your Melo? Where is your Wade? Because Bosch is certainly not why that draft class is talked about so well. It's those 3 players at the top, right? And especially early on, because people forget, because Carmelo's career ended so differently, how great he was early on and how dominant that Denver team was when he was a rookie. He probably should have deserved to win Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. So, I mean, I still have a Carmelo jersey. I still have a Carmelo Denver jersey that I've never worn that has still got its tags on. So every time he does something to damage his legacy, I'm just like, fuck.
Painful.
But I just want to say, like, I mean, where is that? Where are those three guys? They just don't exist in this draft class. And
Who
Scotty's
was third in 21? Who went third?
Carmelo. Sorry.
No, in 21.
Evan Mobley.
Oh, that's right. He was before Scotty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the value of this class is now basically Scottie Barnes.
Scottie Barnes.
And to some extent, Evan Mobley. And then, depending on how high you are, Josh Giddey, Alperen Şengün, and Franz Wagner. Those are your five guys that are really shining out of this draft class. You could probably throw Trey Murphy. I think Trey Murphy was in that draft class. You could throw, or was he in
maybe
the class
Reeves
after?
a bit. But Reeves not a star. He's more of a
Austin
I don't
Reeves,
know.
okay. Herb Jones, okay. There's some good value at that draft. And I'll maybe towards the middle of the season, we'll look at how that draft class is stacking out in terms of win shares. But Scotty and Evan Mobley have been clear heads up, shoulders above these other guys. Was Cam Thomas also in that draft class?
Yeah.
He's been good too. So
I don't think Wagner's too far from Mobley. I think Scotty's like clear out right now, but I think Wagner's not too far, to be fair.
Wagner is good. He's a really good player. Yeah, I think he's
Two-way,
just playing in the wrong system, playing with the wrong types of players. And I've actually liked Jalen Suggs. This year.
I think he's borderline elite. I'm actually really high on him.
Suggs?
But I don't think. Yeah, I like him a lot. He's a good hustle guy.
Elite what?
He's borderline
Elite
elite
role
defender.
player. Okay, elite
Defender.
role player though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We're not talking about him as the Kyle Lowry replacement we were 3 years ago. Okay,
No.
good stuff. Thank God. Okay, let's never open that can of worms again, because
Borderline elite defender.
that was really frustrating for me to listen to people saying, draft Suggs over Scotty. Like, I was very, very upset about this. And because to me, like, the comp is so far. Like, you're talking about a guy who could be like 10-time all NBA versus a guy who could be like 3-time all defense. And Suggs has been worse than I anticipated. But at no point did I see like an all-star in Jalen Suggs. And he might actually end up becoming like a one-time all-star if he has like a really big year at some point down the line. I have, again, I look at track, I think he was very overrated at Gonzaga. He could hit that really big winner, game winner. Everyone's talking about it. They were a really good team. I don't think they were a good team because of him. I think he's a part of it. I don't think they were a good team because of him. I think they were a good team because of Drew Timme. And then that way, he gets all the hype. He hits the game winner. Again, March Madness, it's huge, right? And I don't know. I just didn't see it with him. But I'm happy for him that he's, got his footing in the pros. And after the year he had as a rookie, to come out last year and be better, and then come out this year and be better. And he's buying in. See, this is, to me, it's like, this is what shows me who you are. And I'm not surprised that he and Scotty are close, because it's like, who are you as a person? Who are you as a player? Do you help your team win, even though you're not starting, even though you don't get the ball? Now he's starting now, but like, if I'm bringing you off the bench, if I'm cutting your minutes down, if I'm not giving you as many shot attempts, do you sulk? Do you continue to take bad shots? Or do you actually adapt? Are you coachable? He's proven himself to be very coachable. I think Jalen Suggs is going to be, he's going to be a solid NBA pro.
I think that's what separates OKC and Orlando from a lot of other teams. For the most part, a lot of them have bought in to the system they've been presented with.
That's a very fair point. Yeah, absolutely.
So do you think Asur and my bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So do you think Asur and Jalen Duren's ceilings are higher than Cade? Is that your take?
I think Asar Thompson is more likely to be a 3-time All-Star than Cade is. Really? I don't know if what that means, but I have a friend who works in the Detroit media, and he said to me, we were talking like maybe about a month ago, and so he covers the team really close, and he gets to attend a lot of these workouts and stuff and practices. And he said Asar's he works harder than basically any person on the team, and to see him come out the way that he has, to see him guard the way he does. I wasn't super high on him at the draft. I didn't follow the overtime elite, too much. I guess, we weren't going to get a top 5 pick. These guys were going to go top 5. I didn't think about it too much. But I have just been blown away by him, man. His vision for the game at times, his tenacity, his aggressiveness, his hustle, rebound. I'm assuming you watch a lot of Detroit basketball.
Bits here and there, because I like Cade, but
Okay.
I do see your argument, right? But bits here and there.
What have you not liked about Asar's game so far? So, I mean, I'm assuming rebounding and defense have been very much on your side. He's had some embarrassing moments on offense, but what do you see as the issue with Asar?
Well, my issue with Asar and his brother, go back to the overtime league. I watched a little bit, and it was
Mhm.
just their inability to shoot. I thought they were going to struggle in the first year,
Sure.
but they are freak athletics, right? So you can teach skill to athleticism, but you can't teach athleticism to skill, or however that
Facts.
saying goes, right?
Mhm.
So him and his brother, but I think I like Asar a lot. I just think if he learns a shot, he'll and if he teaches it, like I don't know if Bogdanovich and Joe Harris want to teach him, coach him,
Mhm.
but if he gets his shot, I do see the potential for him higher than Cade. I like him a lot. I think him, Bilal, and Casey Wallace, they both come out as really like three really good defenders as rookies.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, again, it's the argument of space. How much, like, basketball
Yeah.
is, as I said, basketball is very simple. How much space do you create on offense? How much space do you take away on defense? That's the Victor Wembanyama is generational argument, right? Look at how much space
Yeah.
he gives you on offense because of how much he can stretch out the court and how high his releases and stuff. He's giving you so much vertical and horizontal space. And on defense, he's closing vertical and horizontal space. Like, if you
Right.
could build a ball around a particular player in terms of how much of a threat they were offensively and defensively, Victor Wembanyama would be the biggest
Number
ball in NBA history, right?
Right,
Crazy.
right.
So when you look at that from that perspective, athleticism, speed, quickness, IQ, all of these things just add to the ball. It adds to the size of the ball. Because you see, if I have the foot speed to get to a spot, but my brain never reacts to the fact that I should get to the spot, then I'm always slow to the spot, right? And it's the same
Right.
thing with shooting, right? So if you can shoot, defender's going to back off of you a little bit. You have a little bit more space. Your ball grows a little bit more, right? Now you have a better driving angle because you can shoot. If you don't have the drive, if you don't have the shot, they're going to play you up and they're going to they're going to back off of you, and then you won't have the driving angle. So, like, my perspective on this would be, when people show you who they are, believe them. Maya Angelou quote, always refer it. I think I refer to it every single day because it's true. It's so true. So I have
Right.
never seen a player of Asar's, let's say, like, athletic profile and defensive makeup, who works hard, fail. I've never seen it in my life.
You have any comparisons of old
Kawhi.
players? Okay. Shorter Kawhi.
Kawhi, PG, guys like that. PG came in, they had a rule: you couldn't dribble the basketball 2 times. I mean, people they forget, right? So I'm not necessarily like throwing that onto Asar or to Bilal, like, whatever. These guys will be their own players, and maybe they'll never
Right.
be Kawhi. But I'm saying, like, the Kawhi profile is very much an equation of space, in terms of just his long hands, his big hands, his long arms, his incredible reach, his ability to navigate these and his work ethic. Kawhi's work ethic was insanity, right? Like, talk to
Right.
anybody who was covering him when he was younger, read the articles about just this incredible defender who just worked so hard. And he was a team guy. He bought in. He didn't have a massive ego about things.
He was a role player.
People see him as a role player because that was his role, right? But then he has this
Right.
gigantic ascendance to stardom, superstardom. Even after winning a Finals MVP, he still wasn't considered a star. He won Finals MVP for locking up LeBron. But I mean, there's so many things, and I mean, also, like, I guess the final intangible skill here would be, what is your mental makeup? When I see Asar play, I don't see a scared player. I see like swag
Mhm.
in him, and I really like that. And so, when someone like Kawhi, who's a very young player at the time, I think he was 21, 22 years old when he went up against LeBron in the finals. This is a high stakes moment. This is the best player in the league at his peak, by the way. LeBron, when Kawhi dethroned him, was at his peak. Like, he may have had one foot out the door, that's fine, but, like, this was the best of LeBron. And it is not. He didn't do this to 21-year-old LeBron. He didn't do this to 23-year-old. He did this to LeBron in his prime.
Yep.
And he didn't do it
Yeah.
alone. There's a lot of help. I think he gets a lot of credit for doing it alone, just like Fred VanVleet gets a lot of credit for shutting down Steph Curry alone. It's never alone. You never shut down a superstar alone. But the
It
job
was a
that he
boxing
did.
that won.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Fred deserves credit. It's just like Kawhi deserves credit. But,
Agreed.
anyways, my point is, he wins that Finals MVP. He comes out, and they give him more of a role in offense. But ultimately, when Tim Duncan leaves and it becomes his team, we'll see, like, second in MVP voting. Like, it was that far. Like, he goes from straight up, and even after he left San Antonio, like, as he was leaving, people were still calling him a system player.
Right.
you can't succeed outside Popovich's system. And he comes out and puts on the most dominant run in probably like
In
one of the
years.
most three most dominant playoff runs ever for the Toronto Raptors. And now people can't say shit. And ironically, he had a better season for the Clippers the next year than he did for the Raptors regular season wise. And now people just kind of clown on him because he's in Clippers. He's on the Clippers, and I guess people don't want to talk about the Clippers because there's Lakers down there. So
First franchise.
Cursed franchise for sure. So anyways, my point is like hard work times force times mental toughness is a really good recipe for success. Will he be more Ron Artest, Meta World Peace? Will he be more, either way, you're talking about an all-star level talent.
I see it. I see what you're
so
talking about.
I think they got a good one. And I was very, very high on Jalen Duren last year. I liked him a lot. My takes on centers last year were real bad. I thought Walker Kessler would be bad. So I was fucking stupid on that.
I remember it's because you said you've seen players with his makeup, like tall white guys, come in and they weren't able to do nothing.
It's funny.
Something like
It's
that.
funny. I was being racist against myself.
It happens.
I caught myself being racist against myself, assuming that this white player, big college player playing in this program, probably, wasn't going to be able to hang with the, the dudes in the NBA. And then I saw his first, I think, summer league game, or I saw like a game in the season, and he just had no back down and no fear, and he was quicker than I remember. And I was like, oh, I'm wrong. He's not that guy. He's this guy. He showed me a lot. And it was a really good game. The Utah Jazz played against the Toronto Raptors. And he was just a lot of really good things to say about Walker Kessler now. So, yeah.
No, he's great. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. I really love that this conversation got away from the Raptors. That's cool, too. I thank you to everyone who stuck around till the end. Rank Scrub saying trading Siakam is a logical thing to do compared to trading Gary at a low or OG on the high. Siakam's playing even to his current contract value only.
Yeah.
I don't think he's playing up to his contract value. I think the stock might be lower than it was 2 weeks ago if people are being that fickle. But if we can buy the narrative that he is just simply struggling in this new offense, that any team that trades for him is not getting a declining asset, but rather a depressed asset,
Yeah.
Great. And I don't mean depressed as in he's sad. I mean depressed asset as in the term depressed asset
Slump.
from, like, I mean, just a player who's not being used correctly. So, like, I mean, if that helps his trade value, maybe tomorrow I need to create a video saying like all the things that, the Toronto Raptors are not doing to help Pascal Siakam. Yeah. I'll leave this on a funny sort of petty note. Last year when Siakam was putting up big numbers, they put up this quote, the tweet, "We need to get Pascal some help." So I think if the Raptors lose the next game, Josh Lewenberg, Michael Grange, I'm waiting for we need to get Scotty some help. We need to get Scotty some help tweets. Yeah. Anyways.
Would you do that Siakam for the Kings trade you was talking about?
Yeah, I would.
Who was it? Kevin Herter? I would too, because I think it'll help Barnes develop and we get the spacing we really need. But the only thing is, I think OG fits better with the Kings than Siakam.
Never miss an opportunity to bring up Jeff Doughton. Send B saying I would take Jeff Doughton for Siakam right now.
Yeah, bring my boy back.
Thoughts of Cooper Flag? Good timing on the white guy talk. He's incredible. He's incredible. I have seen a lot of 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds play basketball. He's right up there. I've watched LeBron play 16 when he was 16, 17 years old. This guy's really good. So, yeah, no trading. Get rid of that pick this year. Do not even make me lose one sleepless night that you might be bad and give up on this guy the next year. Because this guy coming in 2025, I think he could be really good. We sometimes, we're wrong about players. When we project out this far. The way they were talking about Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham, like in 2019, was like these guys were going to come in and light up the league, and they haven't, right? Cooper Flag, to me, is a different level of prospect than those guys. Just my opinion from watching him play and talking to people who've been around him a little bit. Yeah. Okay. I guess on that note, we will end this. Almost 3 hours. Thank you guys for calling in. I really appreciate it. Ghostface, call in anytime, man. Good conversation. Richard, thanks. Nice having you back.
Yep. Thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. All right. Okay. Almost 3 hours live. I think that win was worth it. I think that win was great. Feels good. thank you all for tuning in. Some of you floated in, some of you floated out, but almost consistently we were at about 400 people for this live. That's really cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will definitely work on that Scotty video. We haven't released a lot of videos. We've been doing a lot of lives. People keep telling me, Rob, I miss your 7-minute videos. I miss your 8-minute videos. Those videos take time, and they do take time. These lives also take time. Those videos take time. Those videos are, of course, responsible for how fast this channel grew. But I think these lives are also great because I get to talk directly to people, and it's just a lot more fun than editing videos. But I will edit that video at some point, and hopefully I can get it out tomorrow or Tuesday. But the Raptors don't play until Wednesday, so it'll be a dry time for Raptors content. Might be time for a video like that to pop off, and people are going to be buzzing about Scotty for the next couple of days. Hopefully, there isn't some bullshit article written by some bullshit person trying to throw more water on that over the next couple of days. I'm sure they'll try, though. All right. PWL saying, praying for Siakam to raise his trade value. I'm praying for him to buy in, man. I don't care about the trade value too much right now. I just want him to buy in because I think we have a good team, and he's played like dog shit all year. Being honest, he's just played terribly on almost both ends. There was some inspiring play today. He attacked, quicker than he has been before. Maybe he's figuring it out, but he's not finishing. I know if you look at the box score today, you're going to see triple single, right? And that old Charles Barkley line, you got a triple single. I think the game for Siakam today was better than a lot of the other games that he's had this year. And that's saying a lot, because that really is a backhanded compliment. That's saying, like, great, you played better than absolutely the worst player on the court. You weren't the worst player on the court today. You need more, man. You're paying him $40 million a year. You need more. Not counting anyone's bread, not counting anyone's paper. This is a pride thing. I mean, this to me is like, if I'm a rival executive, I'm watching this, I'm like, either he is really, really hurt or he has fallen off a cliff. And like, this has been the buzz around the NBA for a while now, which is, we don't know who this guy is in our offense. And so you're giving them a demo of what you look like next to a star, because this is what you're playing like next to Scotty. I don't see why you're going to play any better next to Luka or play any better next to some other star that we put you next to. And if this is, your compete level next to a star, then maybe we don't need to pay someone $40 million to this. We can just pay someone the mid-level exception, because he is honestly right now, there are so many guys on veteran minimums that are playing better than him right now. I'm not even kidding. Kelly Oubre has been better than him. He's making $2 million a year. So you need to have a little bit of pride too. I remember, long time ago, I was listening to Kwame Brown, talk about playing hurt. Now, I'm not suggesting players should play hurt. Please understand, I'm actually very big against players playing hurt because of long-term damage. But he talked about, being a country boy and kind of coming from the ghetto, and like someone's paying you $8 million to play basketball, and how are you not going to play hurt? Like, that's the humility that some people have for it. Misguided or not, it is pride. Kwame Brown's a very proud person, right? And the pride is that if you're paying me $8 million to play basketball and I'm hurt, I'm going to try to play basketball, right? I'm going to play, I'm going to compete, I'm going to do whatever I need to do. And I think that pride is a really important thing that should not be understated. And when you don't see pride in a person, when you see selling in a person, when you see a person just kind of like, I can't be bothered to be out here, you pray it doesn't happen twice. And when it starts to happen 4 times in one person's career across 4 different years, 4 different times, I am done with that player to some extent. And I wish him well. For whatever it's worth, I just feel bad for his teammates right now. That's it. Adjusting, I hope it's just adjusting. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong. I pray he's just, his feet are not letting him box out, or he's not rotating properly, whatever. There's some plays today where you're like, oh, he is trying. He tries to tip the ball in the basket or whatever. But the fall off is so immeasurable large. Like, you can't go from the player he was last year to the player this year. Like, it's hard to do this. As I said a couple of days ago, he's playing the worst of any All-NBA player. That's actually fact-checked, not true. Julius Randle's playing even worse. So go, figure that out, right? Julius Randle, Pascal Siakam, the comparison never ends. Anyway, he's in his own head. He might be. But you're an NBA All NBA guy. You should be able to figure out a motion offense. You've played in one before. You certainly have played with more movement than you're playing in right now. I'm just not understanding why this is so difficult for him. He knew this was the direction they were going for months, right? So look, the encouraging sign is he is still, he's taking threes. I think he took fewer threes today than I would have liked, but he's not making them right now. If he continues to take threes, I know a lot of people are against this. I know a lot of people are like, I don't want my Pascal Siakam taking threes. No, I want my Pascal Siakam camping out at the line and taking a lot of threes every single game, and ideally making about 35% of them, because it's the only way this is ever going to work, right? Anyways, all right. That play by OG to take it to OT was huge. I agree. All guts, all glory, and good for OG, good for the Raptors, good for Scottie Barnes, good for everybody. It was great. It was a great win. All right. I'll see you guys later. Hit subscribe, hit like on your way out. I would really appreciate it. Likes help the algorithm. YouTube, let them know. Show it to more people. I'm probably going to see if K Money's Twitter spaces are hopping right now and get on that call. And yeah, my life has turned into basketball the last week and a half to 2 weeks, but I'm looking forward to a break tomorrow as well. It's just dial in some editing. Andre, good for you, man. All right. See y'all there. Peace.